Fitzpatrick takes the snap, drops back, lobs it back right corner. Decker! He's got it! Touchdown! Eric Decker scores! And the Jets have won it in overtime!
This is the Jet Take with Ben Blessington and Kyle Fahey.
Welcome back to another episode of the Jet Take, our free agency frenzy special. Although there's not much going on for the Jets, but there's still stuff to talk about. As always, I'm Ben Blessington, joined by Kyle Fahey. Kyle, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, Ben. But I want to start this off with a question.
Whoa! We're not done with the intro here, but okay, fire away.
Okay, so speaking of intro, the intro that we just played, how much longer can we use that? I mean,
yeah,
Eric
I was
Decker
thinking about
scores, and the Jets have won it. How much longer is Eric Decker going to be on this team?
Or, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick for that matter.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. We'll look at it changing it. It works so well that it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still a good.
We can claim it historical Jet-wise. That's basically our Super Bowl, like the past. We'll go with 10 years. I mean, honestly.
No, what? Dude, we beat the Patriots in the playoffs. That is our best win since probably the Cowboys game on 9/11. I think that is our best win since the Cowboys game on 9/11. So
we'll keep it.
We'll keep it, but we could look at it maybe if
we could tweak it maybe possibly.
If there's an amazing play that happens this season, we might change it. Anyways, as I was saying, you can follow us on Twitter at the Jet Take. We're on as I said, Twitter. We're on iTunes, obviously. Pretty much any podcatcher, Instagram, any other social medias. We're always at the Jet Take. We also have a blog page. It's a little different than it was last time, but it's still the same URL. www.thejettake.libsyn.com. It's a little updated. It looks pretty cool. It's got our Twitter and stuff, and it's doing some good stuff. And as always, big thank you to the man who produces the show, Gangrene David. Go give him a follow. Kyle, do you have his Instagrams? Because I'm still loading up my notes and stuff.
I have it. I think Gangrene David 1. Is that his Instagram?
Okay. I think that is it. All right, Kyle. Let's get this show on the road. Let's talk about some Jets free agency news. So. You and David did an episode last week. I've been super busy, but I think I should be good on these Wednesday episodes. I know this one's on Thursday, but I should be good on the Wednesday episodes from here on for a good long time. But let's talk about some Jets free agents. So I guess the big news is Brandon Marshall. We released him last week, but he signed with the New York Giants. Kyle, I think a lot of fans are getting upset about this. What's your take about this? Because me personally, and I know a lot of Jets fans hate the Giants, and it's like I look at it as like as long as it's not the Patriots, I don't really care. For Brandon, it's a good move for him. He gets to stay in New York, continue doing what he's doing. He doesn't have to move. And it's one of those things where it's like the other side of my family are all Giants fans, so it's like I don't really hate him. I don't like him, but I think that OBJ, Sterling Shepard, and Odell Beckham and Brandon Marshall wide receiving duo is going to be fun to watch, and we don't have to play on this year, so. Really no negatives here except for pride.
I mean, I really do hate the Giants with a passion, so I wasn't happy at it, but I'm happy for it.
Why? Kyle, explain it. Why do you hate the Giants?
Well, primarily it's the fans. I hate Giants fans. I hate how they treat Jets fans. I know Jets fans aren't great humans or individuals whatsoever, but Giants fans, they make us feel like the little brother. They try to say that, they're better than us 24/7, even though we beat them the last time we played them. And they just really get me mad. And I'm also not a fan of Eli Manning because I think he's a crybaby. But I'm happy for Brandon. I think he has a good chance of winning a Super Bowl next year. So he did us good 2 years. I mean, that's all I could really ask of him. I was kind of shocked to hear that the Jets offered him an extension. That tells me that they'll think they'll be relatively good within, I would say,
I think what that was, I mean, maybe, but I think what that more was he was going to be just mentor the young guys, keep him on. He likes playing here, and you can tell the guys like him, but I think it was one of those things where Brandon was like, I haven't been to a playoff game in years, and we both know that the Jets probably aren't making, or ever, what am I saying, ever, yeah. And we both know that probably the Jets aren't going to make the playoffs, so I think it was one of those things, and the Jets were like, okay, fine. But I think they should look to keep Eric Decker. I mean, but Kyle, this is maybe the most talented draft class in a long time. And that 2014 draft, I mean, that had a lot of talent, but I mean, and obviously none of the guys in the draft have actually played yet. But just looking at it from, pre-draft stuff, this looks like this could arguably be the best draft class of the 2000s. And you don't want to hype it up because all these guys could just suck. But judging by position, it's a very deep class. It's a very talented draft class. There's not too many weaknesses. And so for me, my point of view is, I mean, I think the Jets should look to acquire as many picks as possible. I think Sheldon Richardson, he's probably got to go. And let's face it, I think the Jets defensive line is better without him. I think they played better when it was just two of the three-star defensive linemen between Muhammad Wilkerson, Leonard Williams, and Sheldon Richardson. So it's one of those things where, I think the Jets can get two bonuses. I think they could probably get a third-round draft pick for him, which will help, and they can also get. I think their pass rush will probably be a little more consistent when they're not trying to force Sheldon Richardson to play outside linebacker. The other guys I think could be on the trade block, and Kyle, we talked about this last time, was Calvin Pryor. And at the beginning, when you first said that, I was not on board. When we started seeing it a lot, I was not on board. But now that I think about it, I mean, statistically, Rontez Miles in a very small sliver of games or plays, he was our best safety. And I think he's very talented. He's young. He's a guy you want to keep around. He's a special teams demon. So for me, I think Rontez Miles should be given a bigger role. So that makes Calvin Pryor expendable for me. I think if you can trade Calvin Pryor for a third-round draft pick, I might consider doing it. Maybe you can get a second, and you trade a fifth and a second, or sorry, a fifth and Calvin, you get a second, or something. Whatever type of deal.
If you pull that off, Ben, I would give you a lot of money to be my GM.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'm just saying, if whatever type of package you can get, you just want a multitude of picks in the top end of this draft, because although it is deep, you want to get as many players. And I think if Maccagnan can have his shot at his own in Dick 12, we always talk about that in the 2014 class, but if he can get his own 10, 11, 12 draft picks, I think this Jets franchise will be a very good contender down the line. What's your take on trading some of those guys? And sorry, to tie it back to the Eric Decker thing, as I was saying, I mean, if the right offer was to float around, I might consider trading Eric Decker. But I at this point, without Marshall, I might not. But I don't know if we were getting I don't think he'd fetch a second or anything. But if we were getting anywhere towards the top hundreds, or at least the first 100 picks, I might consider trading Eric Decker, just because you get the young guys some more reps and you get some more draft picks and just try to build your team around this draft class. But I don't know. We'll see. Kyle, what's your take on all of that?
Yeah, I think if we can possibly get a second round pick for Eric Decker, if we possibly bundle him with something like we said with Calvin Pryor earlier, or possibly even bundle those two together, ship them both off at the same time, and end up with a second round pick. And in one of the drafts where there are 100 guys that are worth top 50 picks, you definitely want to do it. I think this is the year for the Jets to sell, and I think they definitely should.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that. I mean, do you trust Maccagnan if he were to have a lot of picks? Because personally, I do. I think that Mike Maccagnan's a good GM. But the thing that's been floating around on our Twitter is, I mean, you look at the free agents he signed, not too many of them have panned out. You can go to Ryan Fitzpatrick last year. You can go to even Darrelle Revis, Antonio Cromartie, Kyrie Robinson. Ryan Clady was the big trade he made last year. Matt Forte was good, not great. I mean, you look around where Marcus Gilchrist, Buster Screen. I mean, not too many of his signings have panned out when we're in year 2 or year 3 of the Maccagnan process. Do you trust Mike Maccagnan with these roster decisions when it comes to drafting and when it comes to free agency?
Yeah, I do, Ben. I look at Maccagnan's scouting history, and he's done a relatively good job in the draft. And, some of the free agents that, guys like Darrelle Revis and Ryan Fitzpatrick, I mean, these were kind of predictable. I think they were mistakes, but I also think he was kind of forced in both of those decisions. I mean, besides Ryan Fitzpatrick, who are you going to go with last year? He had no idea that Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to play like that. I mean, that's just out of his control. I wouldn't blame that on Mac. And then, Darrelle Revis showed zero effort throughout the year, so I wouldn't necessarily blame a lot of these non-panned out signings on him. Now, I will say the Gilchrist signing, I was never a fan of that one. It hasn't really panned out to this day. So I guess there are some questions in the back of my mind, but for the most part, I trust Mac.
Well, yeah, and then you look at his draft picks. I mean, his second-round draft picks have not been too good. I mean, they're both kind of question marks. I mean, Devin Smith's one of those where when he was on the field, he wasn't, fantastic. He showed some flashes where he was getting open and stuff like that. But and Christian Hackenberg hasn't seen the field. So, I mean, theoretically, could both of those guys pan out and being good players for the Jets? Yes, but probably won't be. But you look around, I actually thought his drafting was pretty good. I think that's the counter argument to the free agent thing. I think he went to win now in the free agent pool. I think the way you have to approach free agency is, I mean, you can fill some holes and stuff, but I just stay away from the big time free agents, because one, if a guy's hitting the market that's that good, there's always a flaw that you're not seeing, whether it's him in the locker room or the team doesn't value him as much as we as fans do, just stuff like that. So I think the Jets, or the motto in the free agency, kind of should be what they're doing right now. I still think they should make some moves, obviously. You don't want to go full Idzik. But I think it's like, if you can acquire young, talented players, you're not necessarily – I mean, maybe you're going to spend some money. But if you're going to spend money, don't spend it on the Matt Fortes or the Darrelle Revises. Spend it on the guys who are 26 and under. I think that's the type of free agents the Jets should target. So, anyways, let's talk about this free agent class. Kyle, are there any guys who are going to be available day two that you would like the Jets to target?
Well, Kevin Minter and Marcus Cooper come to mind, two guys from the Arizona Cardinals, familiar with Todd Bowles' system, will come fairly cheap, and I think they'll be fairly productive. Besides that, I mean, it's kind of slim pickings. I think there are a lot of guys who are still going to get cut due to cap space, maybe some guys who might get cut due to trades going on. But as of right now, Marcus Cooper and Kevin Minter would be my guys to go to on day two.
The two Arizona Cardinals. What positions do you think McCagnon should try to address? You mentioned, I mean, that's a linebacker and a safety, but on offense, which was, I mean, the defense was an issue last year, but the offense was a big issue and has been an issue for the Jets for a long time. 2015 was really the outlier. Where would you go with that? Because, I mean, it seems like they had some interest in Andre Holmes maybe at the wide receiving core, but I actually think the wide receiving core is pretty decent. They have Eric Decker and a lot of young receivers, so they're only probably going to add one more, and you might save that for a very talented rookie. You look at the quarterback position, that obviously has some holes, but we're going to talk about all the quarterbacks coming up here shortly. You look at the running backs, Matt Forte, it would be cheaper to have him on the team than to cut him. I'm not a Matt Forte fan. I think he's very smooth when he runs, but he's just kind of 4 yards a carry, and that's pretty much it. So I mean, you look at those. I guess the big need that they have to address, if they don't address it in free agency, it's coming in the draft, is the left tackle spot. They did re-sign Ben Ajalana. Maybe Mike McCagnon is expecting him to be the starting left tackle, but me personally, if the Jets can get somebody in free agency that's not too terribly expensive, I would go after it. You don't want to target the old guys. You don't want to target Russell Okun. I can't speak tonight.
He's already been signed. He got like a 5-year.
Who do you go to again? There's so many free agents. It's been hard to keep
Chargers?
track. There's something like the Chargers, yeah. So never mind. But if they can get a left tackle that's a little cheaper, I would go after that. If they don't do that, then I'd look for them to add a tackle in the draft and then have Ben Ajalana and that tackle kind of play the left tackle. And because you have to also realize Brandon Shell is not a. I mean, he played a lot towards the end of last year, but we don't know if he's ready to be the right tackle of this team. So the offensive line shaky, the quarterback shaky. The running back, obviously, you have Bilal Powell, and he's great, but I think you need a counterpunch to that. But it looks like it's going to have to be Matt Forte again, unless they can trade him for a 7th or a 6th or something like that. And then the wide receivers are young, but could be missing, a piece. It seems like the big question for the wide receiving core is Quincy Enunwa going to be able to be that number 1 wide receiver? We know Decker is good at the number 2 receiver / being in the slot. We know Robbie Anderson's a great deep threat. We need our new Brandon Marshall. The guy is going to be the possession receiver, the go-to guy. And is Quincy Enunwa that, or is Quincy Nunez more of a slot type of guy working over the middle of the field, kind of like the tight end, as he's always been referred to, but over the field, deep posts, seam routes, stuff like that. So, I mean, that wasn't really a question, but Kyle, what do you think? Where do you think the Jets should attack on the offensive side of the ball? What needs could you possibly see the Jets attacking?
Well, I mean, I would think quarterback and tackles would be the biggest ones, but there's not really one of those on the market right now, and arguably in the draft as well. So the Jets
Brock Osweiler, Kyle. I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally forgot about that. Man, thank you, Ben. No, but seriously, not one quality guy. I mean, Matt Khalil was the only decent left tackle on the market besides Andrew Whitworth. They were both scooped up today for fairly high prices, in my opinion. So, I mean, possibly a guy like Kelvin Beachum. We'll probably have to overpay to get him in. Don't know how I feel about his play. When you get cut by the Jaguars, that's concerning, in my opinion, no matter if it's for cap space or what. So, if I were the Jets, I'd definitely go after a tackle, but, not really an answer there either way.
Interesting stuff. And David is posing the question on, who are some free agents they could target. I mean, if the Jets do miss out on Kevin Minter and some of these other guys, it could start to get McCagnancy could start to get a little hotter in the eyes of some fans. All right, Kyle, let's talk about the QBs. I think that's probably the biggest question, and then we'll go to the callers, and we'll talk about some other stuff as well. I think this is probably the year in and year out the question for the New York Jets, whether you have stability like we thought we did in 2015 with Ryan Fitzpatrick, only to find out that it was going to be a 6-month negotiation process. In 2014, it was the whole, is Geno Smith going to start? And it just seems every year we're either drafting a quarterback, signing a quarterback, trading for one. We'll see. Anyways, Kyle, who is the number one QB on the market that you think would be a nice fit with the Jets?
When you say on the market, do you mean on the trade market as well?
Yes, realistically, if they are in the trade market, then yes, because guys like Chase Daniels, I guess you could throw in there, but obviously don't say Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that. But on the trade block or in free agency.
I would have to go with Kirk Cousins at this point. I think he's a top 15 quarterback in the NFL, and he's on the trade market.
So are you willing to give the 6th overall pick for him?
I would like a 4th also, if we could bundle that possibly from the Redskins. But sure, why not?
So
I think he's better.
So you would do, David, make sure to tweet this out. A Kirk Cousins and a 4th for the 6th overall draft pick. You do that?
Yeah, probably.
So do you think, I mean, I don't know, like Kirk Cousins is one of those guys where I could see him being the next, our next, Chad Pennington, stable guy who could be the quarterback for the Jets for years to come. He's still relatively young. He was only drafted in 2012. So that means, I'm not looking it up, but he's probably 25, 26. He's pretty young. He could come here and be successful, but the other side of the coin is he could also be a huge bust. You have no idea.
I've seen the past 3 years of him on Washington. If he was a bust, he would have shown it by now.
That is also a solid point, but I mean, you look at who he's been. Is he ready to play behind this Jets offensive line and with some unproven receivers? I mean, how do you think he would fare here in New York? Depending on your perspective. I know there's a Redskin fan that I'm fairly good friends with, and he believes that the Redskins wide receiving core last year was the best in the NFL. I look at it, I saw a 30-plus-year-old old speedster and a 30-plus-year-old over-the-middle catch guy, and that was it. And Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon, they're both gone. If anything, I think he's upgrading to go to the Jets, whether we have Eric Decker or not. For wide receiving core, our offensive line's about the same. So honestly, I think he's working with possibly better scenarios than he was in Washington, especially with the running backs. I mean, Bilal Powell and Matt Forte it's a pretty good stable, regardless of age and regardless of contracts, compared to guys like Matt Jones and whoever their backup running back was. I couldn't even tell you. I think it's an upgrade for Kirk Cousins. Yeah, and you have to keep in mind that he, if we were to trade for him, he'd probably have to sign his franchise tag, and then you're taking a 1-year deal with Cousins, and then I think you would assume that they would hammer out a long-term deal. But I just pulled up a stat as you were talking. Oh, sorry. We'll talk about that in a second. But I just pulled up his stats here. In the 2 seasons that he was the full 16-game starter, he actually has some pretty good numbers, 4,100 yards and 4,900 yards in 2015 and 2016, respectively. 29 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, very good in 2015, and 25 and 12 in 2016, also very good. His rating in 2015 was 101, and his rating in 2016, 97. So a little worse in 2016, but still 2 very solid seasons for a quarterback. I mean, if he's the giving up the 6th overall pick is the real snag for me. I mean, if the Jets somehow not have to give up that, I'd be all for it. Like if they could package, Sheldon Richardson and Calvin Pryor and whatever in a second, or what. I obviously that probably won't happen, but if they could do some sort of package deal where they wouldn't have to give up the 6th, I'd be all for it. But I think to get Cousins, you'd probably have to give up the 6th. And so sorry, I cut you off. You were saying something before we went into the stats.
Yeah, well, 2 things I wanted to say. The good thing about us right now and his franchise tag, 1, we got about $38 million in space, and all we've done is re-signed our own guys. So I'm going to estimate at like $32,000 right now, based off my simple calculations. Don't put that in stone. That may be wrong. We trade for him. We would definitely try and sign him to a deal. And what's great about the upcoming year, the Jets have a lot of cap space because we don't have a lot of guys under contract. And if we can get a guy like Kirk Cousins this year, maybe $15, $16 million per year, and then give him a 5-year contract at that, whatever that may be, we would have the space for it, and we can build around him. And I think that would just work. And regarding the 6th overall pick, I think like I said, there's a lot of great talent in this draft. It's a deep draft, but I honestly don't think there are like 10 guys worth a top 10 pick. I look at Myles Garrett, Reuben Foster, maybe Malik Hooker, and possibly Fournette. That's about it, honestly, that are worth top 10 picks in my mind. There's no franchise quarterback, regardless of how much I like Patrick Mahomes and Mitch Trubisky's potential.
Whoa. You wouldn't say Deshaun Watson, or he's moved up to close to me. He might be my number 1 quarterback right now. You wouldn't say Deshaun Watson's a franchise quarterback?
No, not at all.
So you think all of these guys, none of them is going to have a long future in the NFL? They're all career backups.
I mean, when I say franchise guy, I mean a guy who's going to win you a Super Bowl. So one of them or 2 of them.
That's an elite. That's called an elite quarterback. But I mean,
well,
you could make the argument
if they're in top 10. If they're a top 10 pick.
Kirk Cousins is a franchise quarterback, but I don't think he's elite.
Well, he's depending on the week, he's definitely up there. I mean, I've seen him do some amazing things against good defenses. I think overall, though, he's like a 12th overall quarterback. I could probably put together a rankings. But I just don't see a guy in this draft leading you to a Super Bowl. The best potential, in my mind, is definitely Patrick Mahomes. The safest pick is probably Deshaun Watson, but probably the most success is Mitch Trubisky. So it's kind of hard to pick a quarterback at 6 for the Jets, because I don't think any of them are really worth it.
Okay, wait. I don't want to harp on this too much, but wait. Take me through that again. So the best quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. Is that what you said?
No, the guy with the best potential.
Okay, so the best potential is Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. Probably has the highest ceiling.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson's the safest pick.
You know what you're getting out of him. Good leader, coming from a pedigree type of school. Kind of knows the pro offense. I mean, little leery on that. He has ran some pro schemes before. Mostly 1 or 2 reads though at the most. Not like Brad Kai in Miami. It wasn't that complex. Has played with NFL talent around him. He isn't going to have to adjust to that. I mean, some guys really. You look at a guy, Carson Wentz, to put an example. Didn't work with a lot of talent. I think it took him some time to definitely adjust to the talent around him. So I don't think Watson will have to do that. You know what you're getting. Okay accuracy, okay deep ball, okay everything. He's average. I think he would be an average quarterback in the NFL. That's why I think it's the safest pick. You know what you're getting. If you're content with that, maybe you let him sit for a couple of years behind a veteran you have. Go for it. Totally go for it. If I'm the Giants, I'm probably picking him, knowing Eli Manning's going to retire. And then I think the guy who would probably get you the most wins and probably the best quarterback in the draft is Mitch Trubisky, based off of what he has shown me on the field, and I don't want to say in the classroom, but on the chalkboard. We'll say on the chalkboard. Mentally smart, and he shows it on the field.
Okay. All right. So would you consider any of those guys at 6?
No, not at all.
Okay. So for me, I mean, I think that we're going to go to the callers in a matter of moments here. But for me, I mean, I think the Jets, I mean, it depends how this free agency plays out. Hopefully, I think they're going to be more active in days 2, 3, 4. You know, the second wave of free agents. I think
day
that's where
227.
No, okay. Well, I think in the second wave of free agent, I think that's probably where they're gonna get a good group of guys. So I think you should look to see them sign around 10 free agents maybe. Some probably aren't going to be that good. Some might get cut, but I think the Jets can still get some solid guys. Logan Ryan is an example. They still need to sign a corner.
He has number one ability, Logan Ryan. I saw him man up Julio Jones for the most of the game. With Devin, I will say Devin McCourty did shadow him for a good portion of the game also. But besides 1 or 2 catches, I don't think Julio Jones did phenomenal in that Super Bowl. So I think Logan Ryan definitely has some potential, and I always love stealing a guy from Bill Belichick. So I would definitely be interested in that, depending on his money.
Well, yeah, I think he's probably one of the top corners left out there since A.J. Boye is gone. Jermaine Johnson signed his franchise tag and stuff like that. And Stephon Gilmore went to the Patriots, which is disappointing. The other guy
they won't win a Super Bowl now. They broke their rule.
Dwayne Allen. I mean, Dwayne Allen is now on the Patriots, and he scored 3 touchdowns against us in one game. So now I have to face him 2 times a year.
Time out. Do I have time to rant about that real quick? Like a 30-second rant?
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Indianapolis Colts, you idiots. You never trade to the New England Patriots. You never trade to them. Ever. You never trade a player who has ability, who has just been injured for nothing. They got fleeced. The Patriots just got a very good tight end when healthy. That's bullcrap, especially what they did to you in the AFC Championship games. This new GM they hired is stupid, man. Honestly. That really pissed me off when I saw that.
I think yeah, teams need to stop trading with the Colts. Anyways, we're gonna go to the callers. What I was gonna say was with the 6th pick, I mean, it all depends on free agency. I think if the Jets continue at this pace and don't really address their needs of the secondary, I think they probably should take the New England Patriots motto of not just drafting the best player available, but the best player for the New York Jets, and that would probably be attacking a need. So I think you could see Malik Hooker there. As far as the corners go, you could see Quincy Wilson, Tease Tabor, Marshawn Lattimore, any one of those corners. I don't think the Jets should go after Jamal Adams. He's another one of those strong safeties. The Jets don't need him, so that pretty much covers the secondary guys I would consider. I don't think they should go at 6. I don't think they should go linebacker or defensive lineman. I think it's either secondary or you go offensive side of the ball. They've neglected the offense for so long. So, I mean, would I consider Deshaun Watson if he was there at 6? I think I would. I mean, if he's there at 6, I think it depends who's on the board, but he might be my pick, although it sucks to take another rookie quarterback. Leonard Fournette, I think he's the best running back in this class. I think he proved it with his combine. I would also consider him strongly there. I think he's one of those guys where you can, I know the whole don't take a running back this early. It's a very deep class, but Leonard Fournette is a game-changing player. He's a franchise player. He's a guy who's going to sell a lot of jerseys and score a lot of touchdowns. I think it's one of those things where it's, you can build your offense around him. The Jets can be a ground and pound team like we know they want to be, and Bilal Powell is the third down change of pace guy. It'll help Leonard Fournette because Leonard Fournette, one of the big issues with him is he struggled to stay healthy. He was still on the field, but he would roll his ankle or whatever. So if Bilal Powell is still taking considerable snaps, that should be good. And you can also flex Bilal Powell out wide on some snaps and have basically 2 running backs. Bilal Powell goes out, flexes out as a receiver, and some others. You can do some fun things with those 2 running backs. In that scenario,
pitch him a ball at the 2-yard line on a reverse like Brandon Marshall.
Okay. But you can also, and then in that scenario, I think you should probably just try to dump Matt Forte for whatever you can. I mean, I think you should just try to get a 6th-round pick or whatever you can get for him at that point. I would not consider any wide receivers there. If they trade Eric Decker and
if Mike Williams is sitting there at 6 and we trade Decker,
Or John Ross. That's the other guy. John Ross or Mike Williams.
What?
I think Mike Williams is much better, but the 4.22 definitely helped John Ross. But
no, it didn't. Everybody knew he was fast. It didn't change anything about him.
Oh, don't tell me the 4 point that helped him.
Well,
that bumped him up at least 5 spots. It's just
he's not better than Corey Davis.
That is I would also agree with that. Actually no, I would actually still take John Ross.
Corey Davis.
I think Corey Davis is a very solid receiver. But no, what I was going to say is, I mean, statistically he is the fastest player to ever come out. Now, probably not
Deion
right.
Sanders.
There are probably some guys. What?
Deion Sanders. Come on.
He didn't technically, I don't think they were keeping too much time in the 40s back then. But anyway, statistically, he's the fastest guy to come out ever, so you'd have to consider him. Some guys to call him just the next Tyreek Hill, so that'd be cool. So I maybe would consider wide receiver, but only if better Tyreek Hill, a more polished Tyreek Hill, I think was the term. So if they trade Decker. Stop cutting me off, Kyle. Get off.
Well, you can't go into my specialty and not
your specialty. Why is it your specialty? Because draft them and all their 12 followers.
Yeah, it's actually 21, and then I don't see you with a website.
You've had it for like 2 months.
I've actually only had it for a month. I created the account like 2 months ago, but I didn't start anything till like a month ago, and I definitely know more than you about the draft.
Oh, really? Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
what about those Jets trivia sessions, Kyle?
I mean, we did fairly good in those.
I'm beating you by like 5-1. Anyway.
Wait, the one with David or the one that we did like a while back?
The one we did a while back, I still won, and the one we did with David, I'm winning.
The one you did with David. Oh man, last week's question I got immediately. It sucked you weren't on.
What
David
was
can attest. It was
Don't tell me what the answer is. What was the question?
Santonio Holmes caught 2 game-winning touchdowns. What teams were they?
Steelers and Jets. What? Who are they playing?
Yeah.
Texans and Browns.
Flip.
And then he also got the Lions one. He put us in field goal range. That
isn't a game win. That isn't a game win.
I know it's not a game winner. But anyways, let's go to the callers. We've been rambling for long enough. We actually do have some stuff we got to talk about. But we're gonna go ahead and bring on one of our favorite callers here, Justin. Justin, how's it going, man? Day 1 of free agency. How are you feeling about the Jets?
Same.
I think that describes a lot of Jets fans.
Good move bringing back Josh Martin. I mean, Ben Ajuana, good move bringing him back. Marcus Williams, good move bringing him back. Wesley Johnson, good move bringing him back. So far, so good, I think, on day 1.
Yeah, no, I think day 1 was I think it was key for the Jets not to go and splurge on too many guys. I mean, of course, would I've liked to see maybe Boye or Tony Jefferson or something, but at a certain point, I think you got to stick to the rebuilds. You got to acquire young players. I'm happy they're avoiding the older guys, and let's just hope they don't bring in Jay Cutler or Brock Osweiler. I think that's my only hope is that they can address some of their needs.
Romo.
Or Tony Romo. I think that one's probably not going to happen. I'll put it this way. If I had to choose one of those veteran quarterbacks, give me Tony Romo any day. But Brock Osweiler or Jay Cutler can stay far away from I honestly, I don't know if I want to watch a game.
You want me to tell you who we need to sign?
Who do we need to sign?
Geno Smith. We need to re-sign him ASAP. Because
there we go.
He's the best option. He's the best option on the table.
I think Geno Smith is a very solid option. Kyle, what's your take on re-signing Geno Smith? That's one of the things that was like, when it was said, I think back in October or November or something, or after he got injured, everybody's like, oh, okay, he's gone. No way that ever happens. But we're hitting here, and he's very young. He's pretty talented. He's sitting there. He knows the system, or I guess he doesn't know the systems because we have a new offensive coordinator, but he knows the team. I mean, he's right there, and I don't know.
Chemistry with the receivers.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think it has no chance of happening. If Geno Smith, honestly,
name another better option.
He hasn't gotten options yet because he hasn't recovered from ACL surgery. So you give him another month into free agency, and he'll actually start getting considerable options from teams. He'll definitely choose them over New York. We've never treated Geno Smith with respect. We've literally cursed him out and booed him on the way into the tunnel as a rookie. If I'm Geno Smith, I'm never stepping foot in MetLife Stadium again as a New York Jet.
Well, if they're throwing you the most money in a starting position, Kyle, I mean, and you don't have to move.
Well, when the fans continue to boo you no matter what and hate you no matter what, I would never sign here. I'm just saying, after the 4 years he's been here, how bad the fans have treated him, if I was Geno Smith, I would never resign here. I would go be a backup somewhere else.
Nope, the guy wants to start. So, I mean, where else is he going to start? He's without a doubt.
San Francisco, Cleveland.
Cleveland just got folks in RG3 coming back, maybe. They might draft a quarterback. Who knows what Cleveland's going to do?
Well, you can still go be the starter there. Hugh Jackson's arguably the best quarterback coach of all time. Geno Smith's got a skill set. Possibly they could put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that happening, but that could be a possibility, but I don't see it happening. But I want to go after Beachum. I think we're going to have to overpay for Beachum, but I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Yeah, Kyle, well, what's your take on Beachum? I think he's probably the best remaining tackle option in free agency for the Jets. But what do you think?
I mean, it's a desperation choice, honestly. He's not that great.
You don't think he's young, and you don't think he can provide any sort of valuable experience for a rebuilding team?
He's 27 years old. I mean, he's an okay left tackle. He's not ideal. So I guess, like I said, desperation, last choice possible. I'm not against it, but I'm also not necessarily for it.
Yeah, and did you guys say you guys wouldn't consider Mike Williams at 6?
I definitely would.
I said only if we trade Decker. I don't think I'd consider him.
I've been saying that. Once Marshall's gone, and I've been considering Mike Williams definitely to consider Mike Williams. I mean, if we get rid of Decker, Williams is stud.
I will say that. I mean, my one concern with Deshaun Watson was when you watched that championship game. I mean, a lot of his deep balls were just. I mean, he was just throwing it up to Mike Williams. They were kind of bad and underthrown, and then Mike Williams would go and bail him out, as Kyle said.
Yep.
But it's like
out his whole career.
Oh my God. Okay. Keep cutting me off, Kyle. But like I think it's one of those things where if it's wide receiver is probably one of our strongest positions, and it's do you take another wide receiver? I mean, it goes defensive line and wide receiver are probably the 2 positions where we're most talented.
Yeah,
I would take him if we trade Decker, but at the other end, because that'd be really awesome to have a bunch of young wide receivers. But honestly, I think it's one of those things where I think the Jets should ignore that until a little later if they want to get a wide receiver in that first round. I mean, that's your chance to get a game-changing player.
Yeah,
if Fournette is there. If Fournette's there, I'm taking him. If Watson's there, I'm probably taking him. And if none of those guys are there, I'm going secondary.
Fournette at 6?
I would take Fournette at 6. I might take Watson at 6
Absolutely.
over him.
I strongly disagree with that.
Absolutely not.
Justin, why though? Think about it. Why?
Well,
Kyle, please be quiet. Let Justin talk.
The later values. We need other necessities right now, and running back isn't really on top of my.
Dude, you're arguing to take Mike Williams. I mean, that's the wide receiver is more of a strength.
I think a number 1 wide receiver is a necessity.
You can
but it's not. But not for a rebuilding team, and we still don't know what Sharon Peak is. I mean,
I can get somebody who will be just as productive as Leonard Fournette, probably in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Yep.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I think there's some good running back. Kyle, I'll agree. There are some good running backs you can scoop up in the 2nd and 3rd round, but more often than not, you're probably not going to, unless you get lucky and you stumble onto Jordan Howard or something. All right, go ahead.
We don't have the offensive line that the Cowboys do, so the people that are thinking it's going to be like a Ezekiel Elliott situation.
I think
we don't have offensive line either. As good
what
as
about
offensive line is Dallas.
But Justin, what about? I mean, you look at what Todd Gurley did his rookie year. I know he didn't have a great 2016, but what he did in his rookie year, and that offensive line's pretty trash as well. The Jets have a young offensive line. All I'm saying is Leonard Fournette is a game-changing player. When you have a pick in the top 6, 7, when you have a pick in the top 6 or 7,
we are desperate for that too.
When you have a pick in the top 7, Justin,
running back wasn't a problem.
All right, go ahead.
Running back wasn't an issue last year.
Justin, I know it's not an issue. I'm saying, but we have one running back on the upside of 30. We have another running back who is very talented and explosive, but do we really think he's an every down type of back? I don't. I think Bilal Powell is a very solid running back.
I think Powell's at his best when he gets around 15 to 18 touches a game.
That's not a lot.
I hear. All I'm trying to say, let me just say this. All I'm saying is Leonard Fournette is a game-changing player. When you have a pick in the top 6, 7, 8, that is your chance to get your franchise cornerstone. That is your chance to as from Woody Johnson's perspective, to sell as many jerseys as possible. I mean, how many players on the Jets can you actually go buy? I know it's not about the jerseys, Justin. I know it's not about the jerseys. I'm just saying. I'm saying from Woody Johnson's perspective. Let's just break it down here. Do the Jets have one player? How many players do the Jets have where you would buy their jerseys? Not many. Not many. I mean, you would. I personally, I don't think the defensive linemen sell as much because they're not as cool looking.
Well, I don't care.
So I'm just Justin, please, man, just stay quiet for just a second. All I'm saying is from that perspective, I mean, he's your cornerstone franchise player. It's the Jets' opportunity to go get themselves an Odell Beckham Jr., an Ezekiel Elliott, a Julio Jones, something like that. I'm not saying they should, but if he's there, it's quite tempting. He is that type of player. From my analysis, I believe that he is one of those explosive, game-changing players. I think he is the best running back in the class by far. I'm not disputing that you can get talent in the second or third round, and I'm not disputing that running back wasn't an issue. But let's be honest, although it was an issue, it certainly wasn't a benefit. There were many games where Matt Forte was ineffective. Towards the end, Bilal Powell did some good stuff, and Matt Forte did some good stuff towards the earlier of the year. But I'm just saying, I mean, there were plenty of games where the Jets had like 20 yards total rushing. I mean, if the Jets want to go back to ground and pound type offense, that was the report we heard. If you bring in a guy like Leonard Fournette, I mean, your running game infinitely goes up. Let's say he's even half as good as.
I don't think so.
I'm just saying, Kyle. I'm thinking you have a young ascending offensive line, and you. All right.
Ben, doesn't the vertical jump scare you, though, Leonard Fournette?
Why? Why would the vertical jump scare me from taking a running back?
All right, well, you obviously didn't listen to AFC East Pros then.
No, hold on.
Gary, Kyle,
why would a vertical jump?
Ben,
Kyle, put that in your head.
Ben, let me talk. Let me explain it. The vertical jump is important in the NFL because it shows the leg strength of NFL caliber running backs. And he didn't have a great vertical jump, which raises the question: is he going to be able to break those tacklers who are at his ankles, weak ankles, may I add? I mean, that's a little concerning. That's honestly a little concerning looking at him. Not having
Leonard Fournette, his big body, he's going to take a lot of hits too. He's not going to be.
He's taken a lot of hits. He's battered and bruised. I'm going to have a hard time seeing him 4 years down the road completely healthy for a season. Crap, even maybe 2 years down the road. Because he wasn't even able to do
about this.
A little bit.
I think Leonard Fournette is a great talent. I have a lot
Kyle,
of questions.
I'm going to pull up this soundbite. I'm telling you, next year, and you can make me eat my words. If Leonard Fournette is just trash, I will post a video myself, and I will apologize to you and Justin. Okay,
Ben, I don't think he'll be trash.
Kyle,
I don't think he's worth
Kyle,
a 6th overall
please.
pick.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous. You have a 236-pound running back who ran a 4.5. He's one of the most, maybe the most productive running back in college football right now.
What happened to Chris Ivory?
You look at how many games he had over 250 yards. This guy's putting up video game numbers. I'm just saying he raises an offense. When defenses have to worry about stopping a game-changing running back, it's going to open up some deep routes for Robbie Anderson or Devin Smith. I'm just saying for your young quarterback, whether that's Bryce Petty, Christian Hackenberg, or a rookie, or I guess Jay Cutler. He's not young, but I'm just saying if you're running a run-first offense, it's going to help whoever your quarterback. I'm just saying if Leonard Fournette is there, I'm strongly considering it. If Deshaun Watson is there, I have the same thing. If they're both if they're both there, I'm considering both of them, and right now they're kind of tied for me. I would probably it depends how things shake out in free agency. If the Jets go and get a guy,
I'll tell you what. If you're just drafting Deshaun Watson at 6, I think he's the best quarterback in the class. Don't get me wrong, but Deshaun Watson at 6 is basically giving up on Hackenberg and saying you're not going to draft a quarterback when the quarterback class is deep next year. No thanks. I'm not drafting a quarterback at 6 this year. I'll wait till next year. I'll see what I have in Hackenberg and Petty, and I'll draft one next year if needed.
Ben, what would you consider the most pro-comparable team in college football?
Alabama.
Okay. You want to know his stats against Alabama?
Ohio State. Whatever.
It's Alabama.
Well, he got hurt in that game, Kyle.
Well, he actually didn't. Because he played the next game, and then the 3 following games fine after that. Against Alabama, 17 rushing attempts. That was actually exactly on average for the rest of the year. I'm looking at it right now on ESPN. 35 yards, 2.1 average.
Guess what? I'd rather go O.J. Howard at 6 than go with Leonard Fournette. How about that one?
Yeah, I would rather go O.J. Howard. Knowing I can get a guy like Alvin Kamara in the second round, who I think could be a very good running back in the NFL. Almost a complete running back.
Tennessee?
That's Alvin Kamara.
Yep, love him.
Yeah, we could definitely get him in the second round, and questions of Leonard Fournette's health, and Alvin Kamara's been primarily healthy throughout his career, and he's a complete back. He just doesn't have the size and speed of Leonard Fournette. So, I mean.
Okay, come on, Kyle. You just said he's complete back, but doesn't have the size or speed, like the two most important things. Okay, it's I'm just saying, you guys are going to eat your words. I'm telling you, you guys are going to eat your words. No matter who the Jets take, they'll probably end up taking some other defensive player. I'm just saying, Leonard Fournette is a game-changing player. If he's there at 6, it's going to be hard to pass.
I'm not disagreeing. Leonard Fournette can be very good, but for this team, when we have other holes in the secondary and other issues that are not as important as running back, I'm not going.
Dude, but you're the guy who just said you've been saying we should take Mike Williams. Our wide receiver core is way stronger than our running back core. How is it different?
Mike Williams is going to end up being a better player than Leonard Fournette.
I don't think so. I'm telling you, I'm thinking Leonard Fournette. I'm just saying, Leonard Fournette's my guy.
If we're talking career, I might go Mike Williams.
Yeah, Mike Williams is going to have a longer
Well, I mean, obviously wide receivers have longer careers than running backs, but yeah. I'm just saying, I think Leonard Fournette is going to be a very talented running back. That's just my opinion. I think running back is more of a need than wide receiver is. I think Matt Forte is old and not that very good. Kyle, I mean, look at it. We just cut Kyrie Robinson. So we have 2 running backs on our roster right now. We have Matt Forte and Bilal Powell. Bilal Powell is very good, but he struggles with injuries, and he's not a complete back. Okay? And Matt Forte is an old.
Not a complete back?
He's just going to talk.
Stop that. Matt Forte was a very decent running back. I mean, he's up there in age, but let's not forget the guy can still play.
Dude, he's like 31 years old, Justin. For a rebuilding team, you don't need to build your running back or your running offense. For a team that's supposedly going to be a ground-and-pound team around a guy who's 31 and struggled with injuries towards the end of the year. And, what did he average, 3 yards a carry?
That sounds like Leonard Fournette.
How many halfback – Kyle, are you kidding? Have you watched any of Leonard Fournette's games?
I've actually watched about 3 of them.
He's not going anywhere. So why are we talking about getting rid of him?
I would get rid. You do. It's whatever. I'm just saying Matt Forte is not the ground and pound running back the Jets need. The dude struggles with injury, and how many times have we seen a 2-yard run up the middle by Matt Forte? I'm just saying he has some solid carries, but at the end of the day, I mean, he's going to be out of the league in 2 years. We're a rebuilding team. I'm not saying that Leonard Fournette is necessarily the number one need for the New York Jets right now. I'm just saying he's arguably the most or one of the most talented players in this draft. If he's there, he's exactly what the Jets need right now as far as a ground and pound running back.
Best available for your team. You don't go best available for on the.
I know. I'm saying best available, and factoring that in. I mean, you're being a hypocrite here, Justin. I mean, you're talking about bringing in Mike Williams, but you're saying that we shouldn't do that with Leonard Fournette, and you're saying because you think Mike Williams is going to be better. running back is a more dire need for the New York Jets than wide receiver is. You guys may not realize it, but Matt Forte is one hit away from retiring, and Bilal Powell is also struggling with injury concerns and is not a full-down running back, or three-down running back.
I can say the same thing about Leonard Fournette, though. Struggled with injured and isn't really a full-time running back. He's not a great pass catcher, and he's got a great pass blocker.
Oh, my God, Kyle. Okay, it's whatever.
Ben, how about this? How about this? Ready? Say we do let Eric Decker go. We're left with Quincy Newell, Robbie Anderson.
We're just letting him go? What are we trading for?
Well, Ben, it's a scenario. Say he's no longer with the team. I don't know what happened to him, all right? Well, I know he could have died or something. I don't know, right?
Jesus. Kyle, Jesus.
It's our Lord and Savior. I'd much rather go get Mike Williams, a guy who I know can be a number one receiver in the NFL. It will be very hard to replace at the next level. Instead of Leonard Fournette, who's a running back who I'm not going to deny.
Kyle, I'm in agreement with you there.
Has a lot of talent.
I'm in agreement with you there. How do you not understand it?
Running back.
Eric Decker's on the team, though. I just said if Eric Decker was not on the team.
He's still not a number one, though. Neither is Quincy Newell, neither is Robbie Anderson. We still need a number one wide receiver.
Kyle.
So now Quincy number one can't be the number one receiver, though?
I think he's best fit as number two.
I'm not so
Kyle,
sure about that.
Kyle, okay, so you're saying one, Quincy Newell can't be the number one wide receiver. I would drop if Mike Williams is there and the Jets don't have Eric Decker, I'd go him. But Eric Decker's most likely, like his wife just tweeted, we're not going anywhere, like 2 days ago.
Yeah, well,
they're not going anywhere. So I'm just saying
they can't legally cut him until he passes a physical. First of all, so.
They're not going to cut Eric Decker, Kyle. I'm just saying Eric Decker's going to be on the team. Quincy Newell is. Why can't? Did you just ask why they can't cut Eric Decker?
No, they can cut him eventually.
What? Why would you cut him this offseason? What do you gain from cutting him?
Why wouldn't you? You're trying to get younger.
Oh my God!
$5.5 million.
Oh my God!
To be honest, I tell Decker to take a pay cut.
All right, Justin. Whatever you say, man. Give out your social media handles, man. It was it was interesting talking to you guys. When you guys pair up, it's very fun to listen to. So Justin, go ahead and give out your Twitter.
At Justin2413. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, see you, man.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, I mean it was. That was the. He just said he ended saying we should cut Eric Decker. How? If you're gonna try to get younger, I get the argument to trade Eric Decker. I get that because you want to get picks, but you don't gain anything from cutting Eric Decker. He's not over 30, so he's still not old. He is the most reliable receiver on your roster. You already lost Brandon Marshall. It doesn't matter if you're rebuilding. He's still a guy that can have an impact in this league 3 years from now. I don't know if he will, but he still can. He's only 28 or something. It's like, why would we just cut him? He's maybe one of our most talented players on offense. It's whatever. If you cut him to get younger, I mean God, I don't even get that argument. All right, anyways, Kyle, anything else you'd like to add on that before we have a few more callers on the line?
The depth of the running back position is phenomenal this year, and that is the only reason I'm against Leonard Fournette. If he was
I agree with that. I agree that there's a lot of depth there. I'm just saying he's a game-changing player. If he's there at 6, Deshaun Watson's gone. I'm going him.
Gone. He won't be gone for another 20 picks or something, or until the Giants pick. So like 18 picks.
Why are you so sure of that? I'm just telling you. I'm just saying.
Because he's not a top 10
There's a very good chance they're both there, and if that's the case, it depends a lot on what the Jets do in free agency. If they're really doing the ground and pound thing that we've been rumored, they're signing a fullback, they're boosting up the offensive line, then I'd probably go with Leonard Fournette. If they bring in a veteran quarterback. But if we're getting the sense that the Jets don't believe fully in Christian Hackenberg and Bryce Petty, maybe they haven't signed a veteran guy, then I'm going to Deshaun Watson. That's my analysis right now. We still have 49 days until the draft. That can change. I'm just saying, what is that, 7 weeks? 7 weeks. We're 7 weeks away. We have plenty of time to discuss and change, whatever. I'm just saying, right now, Leonard Fournette is one of the most talented players in this draft. He's there, I take him. Now, the argument of O.J. Howard, it's like, yes, O.J. Howard's a beast, and if the Jets can trade down, I would get him. But it's like, not at 6. You don't take a tight end at 6. Because
you don't take a running back at 6. I think that's generally the rule.
Ezekiel Elliott took at 3, and I know they have an amazing offensive line, and it's not comparable, but he still was amazing. And you could look at Todd Gurley. I mean, it's just okay. I guess he was taking a 10, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. There's something about Leonard Fournette that I really, and I might eat my words here. I'm just saying that at this point in time, I believe that he is one of the most talented players in this draft. He's a game-changing guy, and he's a franchise cornerstone. And if you have a guy that is your franchise running back, I would do it. I would strongly consider it. If both those guys are gone, or if the Jets don't believe Deshaun Watson's that good, and Fournette's gone, or they don't love Fournette, then you'll probably see secondary. I think there's only really, unless they go major surprise like Mike Williams, who, again, I wouldn't be against. It's just like it's not a place of area where the Jets need. I know I sound like a bit of a hypocrite because you can make the argument the Jets don't need a running back, but I would say that the Jets need a running back way more than they need a wide receiver. But it's whatever. I think you're going to either see secondary, quarterback, or running back. Maybe something like an edge or wide receiver, but I think the secondary, quarterback, or running back is probably the most probable. Not Justin. Kyle, anything else you'd like to add before we go to the next caller?
No, I think we've talked enough about Leonard Fournette.
All right, let's go to the next. I thank God for getting me off this topic. Alex is our next caller of the night. Alex, how you doing, man?
Woo,
hey, fellas, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
It's getting heated in here. I'm telling you. They kept cutting me off. They're ganging up on me, Alex. It was just terrifying. But how are you doing on this Thursday evening?
Doing all right. Would have thought the Jets would have made a little bit more moves outside of the organization today, but they're taking their time, and they made some re-signs and put some tenders on. So quite lateral moves, I guess you would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, yeah, I think I think the best signing of the day came at the end with the Josh Martin re-signing. I think that was a very underrated signing. He's one of the best special teamers in the league. Bill Belichick singled him out. I was afraid he was going to go to New England, but he was basically said, I mean, this kid's maybe one of the best special teamers in the league, and it's one of those things where you got to bring him back, and maybe you give him a chance at outside linebacker this year. But I think that was a good re-signing. I think the Ben Ajalana was a good re-signing, and Wesley Johnson. So 3 very under-the-radar moves, re-signings. I think those good. But as I said, I didn't expect once Tuesday hit and we started to hear about, who the Jets are targeting and, during the legal tampering period, once that hit and I realized the Jets probably weren't going to be big players in day one. I think their time to shine comes the day 2s and onwards, where this next week where they can get the second wave of guys, the guys who are going to be, little cheaper role players, young guys, stuff like that. Anyways, Alex, but what are your thoughts on what the Jets could do in these coming days? I mean, is there any guy still in the market that you'd really like the Jets to target?
Well, at this point, I think that they're going to be economical and probably just try to fill as many positions as they can without having to spend too much money, which is definitely a smart move with our cap situation. You're kind of in a stranglehold with that. So if we can just get a couple more positions filled in and perhaps, put out, one juicy contract just to get somebody, maybe defensively in here. I don't know if it's going to be at the linebacker position or, safety or, preferably a corner. But we know the corner market's a little inflated right now. So, I would really like to have Logan Ryan, but I think that with the way that the other contracts are rolling right now, he's probably going to be getting into that 12 to 14 range and will be outbid. So, at this point, we're probably going to have to get, like you said, more second-level tier guys, maybe an Nakamura from Jacksonville, and, another corner would probably be the one they mentioned yesterday from, I believe, Arizona, Marcus Cooper. So somewhere around those lines, let's just get some experienced players in here for next year.
Yeah, the Kevin Minter, Kelvin Beachum, there's some other guys. Logan Ryan, Kyle, help me out. Alex Okafor. There's some other ones. T.J. McDonald's the other one that I couldn't remember. And yeah, I mean Geno Smith. I think those are probably any other guys that you can think of, Kyle. Just around the young, you want young players that you can bring into the organization because I mean tanking and rebuilding are completely different things. The Jets are rebuilding. That doesn't mean the Jets can't be active in free agency. It just means don't go spend on Adrian Peterson and players like that. Or Eric Berry. Don't spend, insane amount of money. Go after these role players, and I think that's what you're going to see the Jets do. So, Alex, I want to talk to you about Geno Smith and how, or really the quarterbacks in general. We'll start with Eugene. What are your feelings on re-signing Geno and bringing him back to be the quarterback of the Jets next year?
If that had to be the last resort, it may not be the end of the world, but if he doesn't succeed, I think things could get really, really ugly for this team. Maybe rather than going that route, I'd like to see what Petty Hackenberg can do, and then maybe getting a quarterback in the draft or doing something of that nature. To be honest with you, it's just there's so much negativity that's brought with that whole conversation and with this team, and I think a lot of people were hoping for Tyrod Taylor or maybe a Mike Lennon and things of that situation because the media just boosts it up, and everyone just kind of starts trying to connect the dots to those types of players. So I wouldn't feel too comfortable with this team's success and spending, more money into Geno. I think he wants to get paid a reasonable contract. He probably wouldn't want a backup quarterback money and have to start. So I'm not 100% sure about the Geno route.
I mean, I wouldn't be against Geno coming back, but I doubt he would. Ben, any comments on that one?
Yeah, sorry, I realized my mic was muted. I was like, Kyle, what are your thoughts on that? And I was like, I started talking, but no, I think Geno, if he has a chance to start and he's getting a considerable amount of money, I think he will. I think for the Jets right now, that could be maybe the best option. My question is if the Jets pick up a guy, so let's say they pick up Geno Smith, and then they draft a guy, what are you doing then? Is Bryce Petty the odd man out? Are you keeping 4 again? What are you doing there? I could see a scenario where let's say it's not Geno, so I could see a scenario where the Jets bring in a, whoever it is, Matt McGloin or, some other scrub, Nick Foles, something like that, who actually Nick Foles could be a solid guy to bring in for the Jets. They bring him in, and then at 6, the Jets, let's say they fall in love with one of the QBs, Trubisky, Watson, Kaiser, Mahomes, whoever it is. They take, we'll say Watson for this one just because he seems like the perennial number one. They take Watson. Who are you cutting there? Is it Bryce Petty, or would you rather go into with all 4, or are you cutting the veteran? Are you trading Christian Hackenberg? I mean, what if that scenario were to arise? What do you think the Jets would do?
Yeah, I don't know if they would go the 4 quarterback route again. And if they did and they had to make a cut, I would obviously think it would be Bryce Petty. I don't think his contract's that high at this point in time, so you're really not losing too much, and it wouldn't be like a big cap hit. So Petty would probably be the odd man out if I were to think in a 4 quarterback situation with Geno being signed and a rookie quarterback as well. And if you took a player like Watson, we'd be in the same situation that we were when people were screaming for Hackenberg to play. People would want him to get the opportunity week 1 per se, and that may not be good for a quarterback like him that needs just a little bit of time to get acclimated with the NFL speed and making the reads and doing that stuff. So I think it would put our coaches in a pretty tough situation. However, if you did take him and it worked and he started winning some football games, we would probably be seeing McCannon and Todd Bowles, complete their contracts. I think it's up until 2019. So, I don't know how the fan base would feel about that.
So, Kyle, what do you think about, or not Kyle, Alex, what do you think about Bryce Petty and his development? I think that it's pretty reasonable that he could be at least get some starting games next year. He could be the starter from day one. You don't know exactly what the Jets are expecting from him, but how much confidence do you have that Bryce Petty can come in and be successful?
Yeah, Petty did shine. He had some nice plays last year, I thought, and I really thought he made some poor decisions. He said he had a little bit of the the yips. He was a little excited, and, he threw some early interceptions. We saw that in 2 games. And then, he settled down and he made some decent throws. Truthfully, I don't know if it was, a case of Chan Gailey not having full trust in him. So there was like certain design plays that, they tried to simplify for him. And when they weren't open, he would kind of dance in the pocket. And, we all saw him kind of hold on to the ball a little too long. So in this situation, we don't really know what the offensive coordinator is going to bring to the table. Perhaps maybe he can create an offense that more suits his needs and his qualities, and then, he could be productive. Because I think when you think about the arm and the athletic ability, he has all that stuff. He just needs to get, the mental game down and then just start, producing when he gets his opportunities.
Yeah, and Alex, let's shift towards the draft a little bit. And we'll start with the quarterback since we're on the topic. Now, shameless shout out, but you are writing for my website, Draft Them. You're doing a very good job at that. You're finding some gems, or diamonds in the rough, as I should say. But keep it with the quarterbacks. Ben brought up possibly Deshaun Watson at number 6. Your thoughts?
Watson at number 6. Again, I think he's a heck of an athlete. If I had to choose between all those top quarterbacks, I think he's probably the one that you want to go with. Personally, if we went a defensive route or Fournette route, I am definitely a big Fournette fan. He's on the top of my board this year. But if they went the defensive route, who knows if Patrick Mahomes might slip to that second round pick. Anything can happen come draft day, or maybe you're looking at a different prospect at 2, like Kaya or something of that nature. But Deshaun Watson, I think he had a really good draft. He's definitely probably one of the best athletes out of all the quarterbacks here. So if you took a shot on a kid like that, I think it would show that this organization made a mistake with Hackenberg, and they'll have to swallow that one. And you have to figure out some way to where you can market him or, get him into preseason games or something of that nature so you can use him as a trading chip somewhere down the line.
Yeah, and I believe you were on the line for this. We'll keep with the draft. We had a little bit of an argument about Mike Williams or Leonard Williams at 6. I believe you like Leonard Williams a lot. So what would your pick be there between those 2 at 6?
I assume we're talking Fournette, right?
Yeah, Fournette and Mike Williams.
Okay, gotcha. So between the 2, if I were the GM and those guys were staring at me at the face, it would be a real tough one. I'm leaning toward Fournette only because I think he's a polarizing player. His running style is off the charts, with his skills. A 240-pound man running 4.5 speed is a scary thought. And, people will say that, he's not good in the passing game. I just don't think he was really asked to do that a lot. And I think he can be effective, if you were to set him up in a screen game or swing passes of that nature. So, with the situation that we are, he would, obviously work his way into the number 1 role. I don't think it would be right away, though. I think that you would still have him spell Matt Forte. And in this way, with a rotational system, that would actually be better for him, because 2 years down the road, it would be these 3 backs, and then we would probably walk away from Matt Forte in 2018. Bilal Powell and him would be the 2 guys, and then when Bilal turns 30, we'd probably walk away from him, and then it would be Fournette being the number 1 guy with, hopefully some new guys behind him that are good change of pace backs. So I really like the Fournette route. Not knocking Mike Williams at all. I think he is a really good receiver. He's going to be a good red zone target. Comparisons to him, people are saying he could be like, a next AJ Green type. But if I were to go wide receiver with that 6th pick, I'm more of a Corey Davis fan, to be honest with you, than Mike Williams as far as the top wide receivers go in this draft.
Yeah, I definitely like Corey Davis. He was close to being my number 1 guy, but the injury and him not attending the combine and not, having a pro day, or at least at full health, he may do some stuff at his pro day. I'm not exactly sure what his plan is at this point. But, that scares me a little, not being able to see him run a 40, his vertical, even his reps for a wide receiver, possibly pushing off in the end.
But Kyle, do you think that could? Sorry, it's a little abrupt.
Whoa.
Do you think that could cause him to fall a little bit? Do you think the Jets would have any chance at maybe landing him in the second round?
No chance whatsoever.
Do you think? I'll pose this then. Do you think he could fall to the end of the first, where the Jets would have an opportunity to trade up and it wouldn't be that cheap?
Based off of free agency today, what happened with Alshon Jeffrey and where he landed, if he makes it past the Titans at 12, is it 12? Correct me if I'm wrong. I would be very shocked.
Interesting.
Well, and to just touch upon the Fournette situation, I've been watching, what the teams are doing in front of us, and right now it looks like Jacksonville is shoring up their defense with a lot of the acquisitions that they made today. And I was thinking that they would be the team that would probably be in the Jamal Adams, situation, or possibly going for Leonard Fournette before us. So there could be a possibility that he's gone, or maybe Dalvin Cook, who knows what back they like best. But I think that they might be doing something of that nature from one of the guys from LSU or Florida State.
Yeah, and Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they lose Jonathan Cyprin, their safety as well? So Jamal Adams or any secondary guy could be in the play for the Jaguars.
They signed Barry Church as well too today.
That's what it was. That's right. Yep. Yeah. So I guess they kind of balanced it out there. But you never know with the Jaguars. They seem to love their defenders. They have a very good defense though, so I think they probably will go offense. They could surprise some and go with the quarterback and make Blake Bortles expendable. Or I could also see them going with another, I could see them going with Fournette, which is probably what I would do if I were John Hintick. Or you could go with the best player available. Go with the Mike Williams.
You just really confused me there for a second, Ben. I forgot John Hintick was the Jaguars, and I thought you were talking about the Jets, and I go, nope, let's fast track this a year or two.
Yeah, but so I want to pose a question to you guys. So I will start with you, Alex. And Kyle, we've kind of already discussed about the quarterbacks, and Alex, I know we have it briefly as well. But if Deshaun Watson is sitting there at 6, are you taking him?
We asked this question.
I know. But I want to.
Question to Alex.
No, I know. We asked this exact question, but I'm just saying, if he's there at 6, I'm spacing on exactly what he said. Just a yes or no. Good, Kyle. There's another question coming. That wasn't the question. So Alex,
if we don't make any free agency moves and we go into this draft with these two quarterbacks here, and he's available and he's there, I might pull the trigger. Yeah. I might do it.
So what I was going to bring up is Joe Caporoso is probably one of the most respected Jets opinions. He said if Watson's there at 6, he's probably taking him. And I did so Kyle, and Alex, I know we've talked about this. So sorry about those. But I mean, one of the most respected guys. I'm just saying, like I respect his opinions, and he's saying that if he's there, he'd take him. His combine certainly helps. So for me, I mean, as much as the Watson pick scares me for the hack and Petty and having another rookie quarterback, I think I would strongly consider him. So that was all I was trying to bring up was one, I spaced what Alex had said, and then second of all, I wanted to bring up that there are some respected Jets fans there that are shouting DeShone Kizer's names. And, I mean, I know Dabo Sweeney, the head coach for Clemson, said he's the next Michael Jordan, but he had the wrong sport.
You mean Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. No, Dabo Sweeney said that Deshaun Watson was the next Michael Jordan.
Yeah, but you said DeShone Kizer.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Well,
no, I did not. I don't think.
Alex.
Correct me if I'm wrong later. Alex, okay, so before we let you go, we have a few more things we'd like to talk to you about. Let me pull up the list. I kind of just spaced for a second. Let's talk a little bit about what's happened throughout the AFC East. I think we've discussed about the Pats signing Stephon Gilmore and the Dwayne Allen. The Bills went out and signed 2 fullbacks, and they also got themselves Micah Hyde, who was somebody I was interested in when the Jets lost out in the Tony Jefferson sweepstakes. And the Dolphins are staying relatively quiet.
Over,
I know. I'm just saying after day one of free agency, and the Dolphins staying relatively quiet, but they are definitely bringing back Kenny Stills. Could you see the Jets, based on what's happening so far? And the Jets, meanwhile, have not done pretty much anything. They re-signed Josh Martin and Wesley Johnson and Ben Angelana. So do you see any change in the rankings of the AFC East from last year? I know we haven't seen people on the field, but what's your analysis on the AFC East so far, and what the Jets division could look like next year? It seems like the Dolphins are taking a smarter approach, not throwing a bunch of money at the top free agents, so I think they could be quietly good. The Bills, I'm not necessarily sure what they're doing, but I never know. I do like their head coach. And
the ground and pound.
And the Patriots are getting a lot better to an already Super Bowl champion team. So Alex, what's your analysis on this AFC East shakeup?
I was a little frustrated and ticked off today because I had a wish list of my own, and I really wanted to get a good fullback. That was one of the little side moves I wanted them to make. And when I was hearing about Tolbert, I think he's still got juice left in the tank. And then I hear he goes to Buffalo, and then I was like, all right, there's still D'Amico. What? They got him too? What are you going to do with 2 fullbacks? So I thought that was kind of silly.
Fans are asking the same question right now.
And maybe they're going to go into a competition with them, and if one of them becomes free, I would give one of those guys a look.
What I heard is they were going to try to make Tolbert a running back and use him on the ground, on the goal line, because that was something McCoy struggled with. So they brought in DeMarco to be their full-time fullback. McCoy and Gillislee are their 2 running backs, and the goal line.
Did they let go of Gillislee? Didn't they let him go to that?
Oh, you might be right about. I'm not sure about that. I gotta catch up on AFCs. I'm just looking at the Jets and people.
You gotta tune into the AFC East, bros, Ben. Come on, that's the AFC one-stop shop.
But and then they're gonna when they're inside the 5, they're going Tolbert. So I actually think that McDermott is building the team he likes, and I think he could also be good. I think my point is I think all 3 AFC East teams have gotten better today, minus the Jets. Actually, I guess you could say minus the Dolphins. Actually, let me backtrack. The Dolphins not spending $100 million on a free agent is a win for them, so I'll say they got better, because God knows they don't need another terrible contract on their paybooks. But I think the Bills got better, and I think the Pats got better, and it's gonna be a tough year next year. But again, the Jets are never expected to win the AFC East. For them, it's always get that 6th wild card spot. So anyways, Alex, before we let you go, anything else you'd like to touch on? I'd like to give you an opportunity if you have anything else, any topics or questions you'd like to bring up. But if not, we'll go ahead and say goodbye.
Well, yeah, thank you guys for having me on. And Kyle, thanks for the opportunity on Draft 'Em. Guys, go check that out. We got some good stuff going on there, looking at this draft. And, I was just wondering, what kind of tight ends are you guys looking at in this upcoming draft? Because I really feel that the Jets have to make a move. And, I was looking at the Combine, and some guys that really impressed me were Evan Ingram and Bucky Hodges. And, I just wanted to get your guys' take on, if the Jets were to address that somewhere with maybe the 3rd round being the 70th pick, or that compensatory pick, which of the 2 would you guys like to take a look at and get in a Jets uniform?
Well, I know this is more Kyle's question, so I'll make it brief. But if the Jets decide to trade down, which we haven't talked about much, and I guess that'll be our next big topic. But that would probably be my top option. If they can trade down to pretty much outside the top 10, I would take O.J. Howard. I think he's a very talented player. I would not take him at 6. I don't think a tight end is valued at 6. If they take one in the 2nd round, which I also think they could do. However, by the way, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, although he wasn't great last year, he does still have some potential. He did some good things as a rookie, and he was the 2nd-round draft pick by the Bucs, and he was a top, rookie tight end. But if they take one in the 2nd round, David Njoku, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I think he was a guy who really impressed me in the Combine. I think I saw the comparison was he was a bigger and Quincy Enunwa, and I think that would and a better blocker, and so that's one of those things that
no way, he is not a better blocker than Quincy.
That is what I read. I said he is a bigger and better blocker than
he's not a good blocker at all.
Quincy Enunwa. Hey, that's all I read. That's all I read. I watched some tape. Let's be honest. When I kind of just fast forward till I see him catch balls and stuff. But If you're saying he's not a good blocker, then maybe my source here, who writes for Bleacher Report, was a little off here. But they said David Njoku would be a solid addition to this Jets team, and I think he could also work here. As far as those guys you mentioned in round 3, I guess I'll defer to Kyle. But I think any of those guys, I think Bucky Hodges is one of those guys that I would strongly consider. But we'll see what the Jets do. Kyle, what's your take?
Alex, to answer your question, out of those two, I'd probably go Evan Ingram. I think he's the most versatile out of the two. He is a good blocker. He's played in a pro-style offense at Ole Miss. He's gone against some of the best defenses in the SEC. He's got the body and speed and physicality of Brandon Marshall, except he's faster than Brandon Marshall.
You just had to think of the strongest player you could think of that was
the strongest wide receiver who I know can block downfield well is probably Brandon Marshall. So I'll go there. In the speed of who's a sneaky quick type of guy who's not white. So Jordy Nelson doesn't count.
Jordy Nelson's not speedy or quick, but okay.
I think he's quick. I mean,
no. He's a big possession receiver, but okay.
He's got decent speed.
He's a big possession. You stereotyped there, but it's okay. We'll move on, Kyle. Are you saying speedy, quick wide receivers?
He has the size and physicality of Brandon Marshall and a tad slower than Victor Cruz. So he's very versatile, and I think he can be a complete
Victor Cruz is running one leg. Could have said Tyreek Hill or Julian Edelman or.
He doesn't have that speed. But he ran a 4.4, right? Alex, correct me if I'm wrong. 4.4 or 5 as a 6'6".
He sure did.
So I guess you're looking at Charles Sims. I think that's probably the best comparison for him.
Yeah, but that dude's a running back. I don't.
No, no. Oh, you're right. Oh God, why am I fishing his name? Tight end for Buffalo.
Charles Clay.
Charles Clay. We're on the same wavelength there, Kyle.
You're looking at a 6'6" tight end / wide receiver who can block, has amazing speed for his size, good pass catcher, comes with a pro-style offense. I think he'll end up being a 2nd or 3rd round pick when it's all said and done. But Bucky Hodges is nobody to play with as well. There are a lot of really good tight ends in this
probably the
draft.
best class we've seen ever. I mean,
yeah, I can't think of a better tight end class, or even class in general. I think this might end up being one of the best drafts ever.
Yeah, as far as certain position groups with corner and edge and tight end, and you can't even, have to mention this running back course as well. Bucky Hodges at 6'7", almost 255, and he's doing a 4.5 40. If you can teach that guy how to be, stout in the running game, he's already got, being outside on the boundary taken care of, and he can line up inside on the slot and just, mismatches all day long with a guy like that. So, it'd be exciting to get one of these awesome young tight ends in our offense.
Absolutely.
All right, well, Alex, thank you so much for calling in, man. It's always you're one of our most knowledgeable fans, and I know you and Kyle are working hard on Draft 'em. We'll make sure to put that link in the show's description. But Alex, good work, man, and you're one of our most knowledgeable draft experts. You go toe-to-toe with Kyle, man, so it's always good hearing from you.
Hey, always a pleasure. You guys have a great show. Keep up the great work, and keep it real. Let's go Jets.
Let's go Jets. Thanks for calling in, man. All right, that was Alex. Kyle, before we go to our next caller of the night, any topics you'd like to talk about? I generally like to give you the floor occasionally and let you do whatever you want to talk about.
Oh, you're so nice, Ben.
I know.
The Patriots broke their rule. How about that? They went and signed a free agent for a hefty amount of money, and not a very good free agent, in my opinion. Stephon Gilmore, the dude's a little bit above average corner, and they went out and paid him $14 million.
A little bit above average. No, Stephon Gilmore is the top corner in this league, man. Top 10. He's a top 10 corner in this league. Dude,
no.
I know Ryan Fitzpatrick roasted him week 2. I know that happened. I'm just saying, put him in the Patriot system, put him with Bill Belichick. I'm confident.
You can say that for anything. Ben, me and you can go play wide receiver for the Patriots, and we'd probably end up with a ring at the end of the season.
Don't.
No, it had nothing to do with that. It was just a matter of talentless people playing football and still managing to be productive.
I don't know, Kyle. I don't know. I'm just saying Stephon Gilmore has the prototypical size you'd want in a corner, and he did a lot of good things in Buffalo. However, Ryan Fitzpatrick did tear him apart. So. Yeah,
and he's not that great in zone coverage, as shown by Kyle from AFC's pros.
His man coverage, though, is pretty solid. And
his man coverage is solid. I'll give him that.
I think the Patriots like to run a lot of man and zone, and we'll see. But I think
they're
Bill
preparing
Belichick.
for...
The thing that makes Bill Belichick the best is he puts his players in the best position to win.
Possible.
He builds his schemes based off his players.
Yep.
So I think
they're preparing for life after Malcolm Butler. I think that's what they're going for right now.
Yeah, let's take just a few minutes here to talk some non-Jets. Kyle, what was your favorite signing of the day and your least favorite signing of the day for any team?
Ooh, least favorite, Mike Glennon.
Including the contract. It doesn't have to mean that they're like a bad player, but let's say you don't like AJ Boye's contract, but you like AJ Boye. You know what I'm saying? So best signing and worst signing of the day.
Can I have a couple of both?
Sure. Go ahead. No, Kyle. You don't break the rule. 1 and 1.
Oh man, it's gonna be rough. Mike Glennon's a terrible player. And he got a good contract, but AJ Boye is extremely unproven and got an amazing contract.
Amazing means large, right?
Yeah.
Not like amazing, like a good deal.
Yeah. I'll go with AJ Boye because Tom Coughlin is showing that he is the senile old man that the Giants thought he was. He went out and signed a guy who started 8 games at a high level, and besides that, played third string for the rest of his career to 5 years, $64 million. I think that was the deal. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. Just outrageous. Guy's played 8 games, and you're going to go and give him this money? I understand they were good. I understand they were locked down. I understand they were Revis-esque. But 8 games? Come on. That's just not thinking it through. And this is always what the Jaguars do. The Jaguars, I can't tell what they are. They go out and they sign Calais Campbell today, a guy who's like 32 years old. He's going to offer very little to your team. AJ Boye, unproven talent, pay him a lot of money. Then they let a guy like Jonathan Cypher just walk in free agency when he's one of your best players in favor of these 2 guys. It just makes no sense to me. No matter who's the head coach, no matter who's the GM, no matter who's the owner for the Jaguars, no matter how good or bad their uniform is or how big their pool is or how many Budweiser... Their pool is terrible?
No, their uniform is terrible.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
I hate the helmet. The helmet, the 2-thing helmet, oh, God.
Oh, bro, that gradient is so nice.
It's terrible, Kyle. Come on, it's terrible. Anyways, who's your favorite free agent signing?
Ooh, I'll go from a GM's perspective here. Alshon Jeffrey, 1 year, $14 million. Elite when he's healthy, but is never healthy. So I think it's good for the Eagles just to have that 1 year minimum base contract. You don't have a lot of risk, but there's a lot of reward. I think Eagles fans could take a breath, and I know that one really fat guy who does the YouTube videos is probably like freaking out right now.
Oh yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, that dude's
really angry.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be angry tonight because he gets a really good wide receiver on a 1 year deal.
But here's my problem with that deal is, I mean, 1 year. I
tag him the next year, sign him to a longer contract.
Can you tag him? Can you tag him? Is he still eligible to be tagged, given that he's already been on his rookie? He's off his rookie deal. He's on to a new team. I mean, is he eligible to be tagged? I don't think he is.
They signed him to a contract, and he'll be a free agent next year. He'll be eligible to be tagged.
Yep. I don't think he's. But Kyle, he's on his second team. I don't believe he's able to be tagged.
Are you not allowed to be tagged if you're on your second team?
There's a whole age, like, you know how like Drew Brees can't be franchise tagged. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't franchise tag a guy who's old. So let me just look up franchise tag rules and then we'll go to that. But I'm pretty sure since he's off.
We'll get to our callers in a second. Ben is
talk while I look this up.
Mayonnaise is good. I don't care what people say. If you put ketchup on hot dogs, I don't respect you. You can only go mustard. It's the only way to go.
Wait, what? I put ketchup on hot dogs, Kyle. God.
And that shows where our relationship's at, then.
Yeah, it is. We need couples counseling.
Oh, yeah. Get a doctor... oh, God, what was her name? That's a backstory.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't know what it's saying. But
let's not.
We'll move on anyway.
Yeah.
No, but I don't believe you can be Francis. No, we're gonna go back to the Jets in like 30 seconds here. But I think it's just one of those things where if I'm signing a big time free agent, I'm signing to a minimum 2-year deal. Like I don't love the 1 year deal. I don't love the 1 year prove it deal. Maybe do a 1 year and then a team option if like you know what I'm saying. It doesn't at the same
price. You think
price.
Alshon Jeffrey would agree to that?
I think he would agree to it if it's a team option, but if they decide to re-sign it, it's an elevated price. So let's say, what was his contract this year?
1 year, $14 million.
So
you can't get much more elevated than that.
The first year is $14 million, and then the second year he's making $17 million, which is a very good deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's a team option, so it's like they get to decide, okay, is he worth the $17 million or is he not? You know, that's just how I would do it, but he probably we'll see. I think Alshon Jeffrey is one of the best young wide receivers in this league. That's not a hot take.
How much is Antonio Brown making now? He just got that huge contract. That has to be like $18 million a year. He's not even close to Antonio Brown.
Yeah, but Kyle, but people get overpaid all the time in the NFL. It's just
well, maybe that's the problem.
I mean, you look at it like you're gonna see guys like Alshon Jeffrey meet or top the price. What are you doing?
I'm eating Girl Scout cookies.
Same. Oh my God, we're twinning, Kyle. Got some Samoas.
I wish we weren't.
What Girl Scout cookie you eating, Kyle?
Coconut Dream. The only way to go.
Ew. Okay. Disgusting. We're not friends again. All right, we're gonna go to our next and final caller of the night. Besides, we're gonna bring on a producer, but we're gonna bring
award-winning producer.
Yeah, we'll bring him on in a bit. First, though, we gotta bring on Ryan, my guy, very knowledgeable Jets fan. Ryan, how's it going, man?
Doing good, guys. How are we doing tonight?
We're doing good. We're doing
well.
good. We're well. Yeah, I guess that was correct grammar there. Nice job, Kyle.
Oh, thank you.
I know it means a lot because Kyle seems to make a spelling mistake in like every 3 of his tweets.
It's hilarious.
Oh, don't try to play it off like you do it on purpose, Kyle. Come on. He just doesn't know.
No, some of them.
He doesn't know how to use his twos or his theirs. He'll spell quiet like
the twos are definitely to mess with Ben, but the other ones are pure stupidity.
No, they're not. You completely use.
David can attest to this in our group chats.
That's a lie. Anyways, Ryan, this is just rambles at this point. The podcast is a mess. Let's talk about the QBs. I think that's probably the biggest topic. Ryan, where would you like to see the Jets go with the QB position next year?
It's tough because I don't really want to draft one. I don't think any of them are worth the 6th pick.
Yep.
So right now I'm just kind of leaning toward re-signing Geno Smith. A lot of Jet fans probably aren't going to like that, but I really don't want to be giving up picks for a guy like Trevor Siemian or even A.J. McCarron. They're total question marks. I think that we should really have as many draft picks as possible, because we're rebuilding. So giving up draft picks really isn't smart. And then obviously you don't want color here because what color will do to New York. The media will go absolutely crazy, and he's just another head case, and he really doesn't make sense for the rebuild. So I think you could give Geno Smith a 1-year prove-it deal and just take it from there.
We would have to cut Matt Forte if we signed Jay Cutler. That wouldn't work. It just
why would you have to cut Forte?
Because Brandon Marshall and Matt Forte, well, Brandon Marshall's no longer with us, but they are both on record saying that they are not fans of Jay Cutler.
I think that was more Brandon Marshall. That wasn't as much.
Forte, I don't think Forte said that. He's more of like a classy kind of dude. He wouldn't say that publicly.
He's not as outrageous as Marshall is sometimes.
Outrageous, really?
Or I guess brash. I don't know. Marshall.
You mean real? Honest?
I guess real. I guess you know what I'm saying. Like he's not afraid to make bold statements and stuff like that. So Ryan, out of I know you talk about Geno Smith, but let's say Geno Smith goes and signs with the Jaguars or another team tomorrow.
God bless him.
What's the best remaining option? Do you think the Jets could turn to a veteran like a Cutler or an Osweiler or a Romo? I don't know.
Whoa.
So the Osweiler.
Well,
the Osweiler.
Now we got to put the Swift rating on iTunes.
No, we don't, Kyle. No,
yes,
we don't.
We do.
No, we don't. Hell is not a curse word.
Well,
definitely.
not for David, but for others, yes.
Oh my God, Kyle. But then you could also look at the trade market with guys like Chase Daniels. On the free agent market, or Matt Barkley. Is Matt Barkley a free agent or is he a trade guy?
He's a free agent.
He is a free
agent.
Is
yes.
he? Yeah, so you could sign him. There's plenty of different alleys you can go besides the top surface Osweiler and stuff. So besides Geno Smith, and I guess Geno Smith falls in that category. Where would you go next?
Well, definitely no to Romo. I don't think he's interested in coming here in the first place, but it should speak for itself. 39 years old, injury history, no go here. Definitely not Brock. He's just terrible. I think
Brock Osweiler for president.
Yeah, do not want him whatsoever. I would definitely take Cutler over him. If those are only two options. But maybe you look down the line and maybe a guy like Nick Foles. I know his option was declined today. You don't, give him like a 1 year, $5 million deal, something cheap like that, because you don't want to give him a crazy contract. Maybe even Matt Barkley. He's familiar with our offense coordinator when they, were together in USC, only for that 1 year, but still.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of different options, and we're going to come right back to the quarterback talk. Really quickly, breaking news for the New York Jets.
Breaking news.
This is a huge deal, Ryan. The Jets have re-signed outside linebacker Corey Lemonnier, who played in their Week 17 game against the Bills, had a sack. But I think he was a solid re-signing, a young guy. You want to bring him back. He looked pretty good.
Yeah, he's a good camp body, if anything. So.
Hey, Fitzpatrick looked good against Buffalo too. I mean, they could be misleading teams to scout against.
He's also a former third-round pick, so he might have some talent. So I guess that's pretty decent to bring him into camp, see what he can do.
Who picked him in the third round? The Falcons?
I think it was Detroit.
Detroit?
Possibly. I was looking at it the other day. But I just wanted to ask you guys a question. So kind of weird because we're the Jets, so. The first day of free agency, we didn't sign anyone. Like we signed two of our players, or three, Ejelana, Josh Martin, and now Corey Lemonnier. But no signings. What did you guys think? Were you thinking yesterday we were going to sign somebody, or were you kind of surprised?
I didn't think we were going to sign anybody, honestly.
Oh, come on, Kyle. You were all on the AJ Boye.
Read the text. No, read the text from last night. We literally had an argument with David, or I did.
Yeah, they have a group chat, and I just don't ever participate. It's just
barely participate in those.
Yeah, we'll see. I think Nick Perry was the one guy I thought the Jets were actually going to land, and they didn't. I thought on Tuesday night, I thought the guy popped in my head was Tony Jefferson, and then I saw Nick Perry on the free agent list, and I was like, okay, those two guys, I think the Jets can probably make them Jets by the end of the week. Then Tony Jefferson got confirmed, and I was like, okay, it looks like the Jets are going to go after two Packers defenders, Micah Hyde and Nick Perry. And I woke up, Nick Perry was re-signed to the Packers, and then I went to school, and Micah Hyde got signed by the Bills. So, I mean, I think after that I realized, okay, the Jets probably aren't going to do much. So we'll see. We'll see what the Jets do. As I've said multiple times, I think it's going to be in the second and third wave of free agency where the Jets are going to really shine. Ryan, speaking of that, that's a nice little segue. What are some of your guys, your day two or day three guys that you would like to see the Jets pursue?
Well, someone I'm really interested in. He's usually hurt, but last year he kind of stepped up for Dallas. Morris Claiborne. I think the cornerback market's pretty dry, so I think that if we are going to sign a corner, I'd rather much sign Morris Claiborne than I know Logan Ryan's still out there, but I'm just really not a Logan Ryan fan, and he's definitely going to get a pretty decent contract, 10, 11 million, I'll probably say. Kevin Minter, that's a good signing if we can get him in from Arizona. His other Arizona teammate, Alex Okafor. Some guy I really think that's a sleeper. I mean, I haven't seen anything about him, is the guy from Houston, John Simon. He doesn't really play that much in Houston, but when he did, he was pretty good. So I would definitely try to take a flyer on him. He'll definitely be cheap. So these are the type of signings that we're gonna have to deal with, and it's not really a bad thing because we're finally rebuilding, and these are the type of guys that you bring in. They'll compete, they'll work hard, and you might find some of these gems. Buffalo did it last year in free agency. They got Zach Brown in like the third week of free agency, and he turned into a Pro Bowler this year. So like the second and third tier aren't always bad. There's definitely gems there to be found. So and then when you got the draft in 7-8 weeks, hopefully we'll get a pick for Sheldon Richardson, maybe even prior. And the more picks you have, it'll hopefully help with the rebuild. Obviously, you're not going to nail all the draft picks, but you definitely hopefully get a couple of building blocks, for the future.
No, for sure. Now, Ryan, as far as the draft goes, is there one guy that you're thinking in day 2 of the draft? I know a lot of guys talk about the first round. We could go Malik Hooker or whatnot, Leonard Fournette. But as far as the day 2 guys, where the Jets right now have 3 picks, they could get another one if they trade Sheldon Richardson. They could get another one in theory if they traded Calvin Pryor. So you're looking at 3 to 5 picks probably for the New York Jets, barring they trade something crazy like Eric Decker or something like that. Where do you think the Jets? Is there a guy or a few guys do you think the Jets should target in rounds 2 and 3?
I like Carl Lawson.
Oh yeah.
Cordarrelle Tankersley, the cornerback from Clemson.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good combine. He's tall, lanky. I like him. I think he could be a day 1 starter. Maybe even Joe Mixon in the 3rd round. He's a first-round talent. I don't know if he's going to be off our board or not because, obviously he has the off-the-field issues, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's off many teams' boards, but he definitely is a first-round talent. So if you can get somebody like that in the 3rd round and, hopefully he puts all these issues behind him, the domestic abuse issue and, all that stays off the field and he's clean, then, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him. That's definitely a guy that usually will be a first-round pick, and you can have him in day 2 or 3rd-round pick.
Kyle, who's your favorite day 2 guys?
Oh man, that's rough. I'll say about Joe Mixon, he's my number 8 prospect right now in the entire draft. To put that in perspective, into where we can get him, so definitely Joe Mixon. I like the guy from Ohio State, Garon Conley, yeah.
Very good.
I always forget his last name. And he has a weird first name too. Never heard of that, Garon. But I think he's been more productive than Marshawn Lattimore, honestly, in Ohio State. Started more years, I believe 3-year starter. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. Definitely a lot more experience than Marshawn Lattimore. Charles Harris is a guy who could fall into the 2nd round. I think it's unlikely, but he could. I wouldn't be shocked by it. And he's a good edge rusher that the Jets could definitely target, possibly replace a Mizzou edge rusher with another Mizzou edge rusher. So there's a lot of talent. It just depends. Budda Baker, Ben, you should be familiar with him from your neck of the woods. Kevin King, also a possibility. He's probably more of a 3rd-round guy. There's just a lot of talent. Denell Humphrey, I can go on for days. Yeah,
and so Kyle, I think there are a lot of talented day 2 guys, and obviously this is an understatement, but it's going to depend where the Jets go in round 1 and what they do in free agency, exactly where they should target. I want to touch on the Joe Mixon thing, and then I want to talk about one last topic, and then we'll wrap it up. Here, I think Joe Mixon is extremely talented. I think he made a terrible decision, and it's one of those things where it's an unforgivable mistake in some of the respects, but he will not be a New York Jet, and there's a big reason why. We'll make sure to. I tweeted out the article a few days ago, but Kimberly Martin wrote an article about Mike Maccagnan's wife and how she has a whole mission to take a stand against domestic violence, and so she's having this whole thing where she's preventing relationship abuse, and it's like there's no way that she lets her husband draft Joe Mixon. I'm sorry. I know there's no way that she's going to let her husband She has a crusade. She has a crusade against domestic violence, and then the Jets are going to take one of the most heated, highly controversial picks. I don't think it's happening. And let's be honest. I mean, I think Joe Mixon's good, but do you really want to bring that type of energy into your culture? That New York media? I don't know.
Well,
if his wife wasn't a huge anti-domestic violence advocate, I think I would definitely take a harder look at him. But
wasn't everybody?
I understand that, Kyle, but I mean, you're not having Kimberly A. Martin write articles about you and how she is a whole
this is true.
shelter or some other
they
stuff.
Should though.
Kyle, were you going to add anything else, or do you want me to move on to the next?
Yeah, well said about that. Technically, it isn't domestic abuse. I think that's just...
Oh, my God.
It technically isn't. I think that's... A lot of people use that term. It just technically isn't, but...
He had a girl, yes, I guess, so it's not like... It's not in a relationship.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's just... The term is domestic violence that people just use when a guy hits a girl. I know it's not technically correct, but that is technically... and it's not like Betty McCagnon is... Well, they weren't dating, so it's fine. You know, like it still has the same meaning.
I'm not trying to language thing. Either. But the guy made a mistake 3 years ago. Both parties were definitely at fault. They both definitely crossed lines. I think Joe definitely crossed the line more than she did. He should have never hit her. It's unexcusable. But 3 years ago, he sat out a year because of it. He hasn't made a mistake since then. Unlike other Oklahoma students, Baker Mayfield. So he's kept his nose clean since then, hasn't had any problems. I don't want to say it's for the New York media, it's definitely a bad vibe coming into the locker room, but any other team, I think he'll be good to go.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes to the Jets, I think it's one of those things where you have to, support him, but it will feel like the Jets just drafted Ray Rice, so it's...
the Chiefs did it with Tyreek Hill.
That is a solid point. Everybody forgets about Tyreek Hill, but that's going to happen.
And here's the thing about Joe Mixon. Everybody from Oklahoma says they love Joe Mixon, that he's a great guy. Tyreek Hill coming out of college? Tyreek Hill coming out of college, no good reviews whatsoever, and that's what he felt so far.
And here's the thing, they forgot about Tyreek Hill because when you start producing and you start doing good things for your team, all the bad stuff gets thrown right out of the door. It's kind of like the Brandon Marshall situation, even though, it's a different. When Marshall was doing good with us in 15, you didn't hear anything bad about him. But, last year it's like, him and Richardson are fighting in KC. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're doing bad, everything gets exposed. But, when you're doing good, you'll hear nothing. You'll hear nothing bad about the player.
The solid point. And Ryan, before we let you go, I want to talk about the big thing I wanted to talk about today was the possibility of the Jets trading down. I guess we'll start with you, Kyle, since you're our analyst. What type of package? You're our analyst. What type of package do you see?
Keith Ledger, calm down.
That wasn't my Joker impression, but okay.
It certainly sounded like it.
It wasn't. Everybody should try to listen to Kyle's try to do the Joker. It's maybe the most depressing thing I've ever heard in my life.
Everybody should listen to Ben try to be a host.
Okay, that made me laugh. That made me laugh. You've had some bad jokes. You've offended every race and religion tonight, but it's whatever.
Wait, race?
Wait.
The white guy Julian Edelman thing?
Not exactly. And quick side note, this isn't related. Kyle, your school mascot is the Fighting Indians?
Yeah.
Ryan, okay, quick, off the top of the head. We're going back to the Jets in 30 seconds. Is Fighting Indians an acceptable team mascot name? Or I guess the team name?
Probably not.
Yeah, they're the Fighting Indians. Come on, Kyle. Anyways.
One of the main...
Kyle was trying to tell me they're like, well, it's okay because it's Indians. And I don't know.
One of the main donors happens to be Native American, so probably the biggest donor. I don't think it... Well... I'll say second.
Okay, it's not important. It's not related to the Jets. Anyways, back to what we were saying. The possibility of trading down. How do we even get to that? I don't. Okay, whatever. The possibility of trading down. Kyle, first off, would you do it?
Yes.
Second of all, so wait, just really quickly off the bat, would that be your top choice for the New York Jets?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see
what type of package do you think they should get? And just let me remind everybody. Actually, I'll let you talk, and then I'll cut back in.
I know you're going to bring up the Cleveland Browns, Julio Jones, Atlanta Falcons trade. No chance that we get that. Absolutely no chance, because there's not a Julio Jones in this draft.
Well, there's what? There's plenty of talented players, but continue.
Well, Julio Jones is a Hall of Famer, but
and you're saying that you don't think there's going to be one Hall of Famer in this entire class?
Not a wide receiver. Well, maybe Mike Williams, maybe.
Why does it have to be wide receiver?
Because
why would that have to be wide receiver, Kyle?
More value at the position.
No, not than quarterback or running back or.
Well, there's definitely not a quarterback going in the top 10.
All right, Kyle. Anyways, go.
Depending on how far we trade down, I mean, you got to give me an option here.
So let's say, okay, well, just to remind everybody what happened,
I would also trade up.
You would trade up. Okay, well, we're going to talk about that in a second. The Falcons sent the Browns a first-round pick, a second-round pick. So they sent and these are late picks because the Falcons got all the way. They had the 27th pick. So, anyways, the Falcons sent the Browns their 27th overall pick, their second overall pick, their fourth overall pick. Then next year they sent them a first, which ended up being 22nd, and a fourth. So they got a first, second, fourth, first, and fourth for just the sixth overall pick. Now, generally, the Browns should have won that trade, but somehow
of course they didn't.
Yeah, somehow the Falcons won that trade. Anyway,
what do you mean somehow? It's the Browns. It's not hard to
Well, looking at that seems like a very lopsided trade for just one pick. I don't think that's probably the max the Jets could ever get. I don't think they will. But, I mean, you never know. There are definitely coveted prospects. Anyways, so, Kyle, what type of deal do you think the Jets should look to expect? I know it's hard to be like, well, but are we looking at if the Jets are trading a first? Let's say they're trading with the team who's picking 14th. I don't know who's picking 14th, but just from a numbers standpoint. So they're moving up from the 14th spot to the 6th spot. What would it probably take for the Jets to get a deal done? Would it be their first, their second, their next year's first? Like what type of deals do you think the Jets could possibly get for a middle of the pack pick?
We definitely have to swap our first-round picks. We definitely have to do that in this case scenario because the Jets definitely need the first-round pick. I don't really care how much we get in return. I definitely want to swap these first-round picks. So the Jets would...
Wait, you don't care what we get in return? Then that's the point of trading down?
No, that's not what I meant by that. I meant to say that it's like, I don't care what we get in return as long as we swap these picks. I mean, as long as we get that, I'm pretty happy. Then we can add the extra stuff.
Wait, what?
Kyle,
we're losing a pick. How does that? Okay, whatever.
Draft. And looking at 14 right now, which is kind of why I'm getting sidetracked, would be the Saints. Not an ideal trade partner, but their second round pick is also number 14. So
let's say they fell in love with Mike Williams.
So we would end up with 14. I would want this year's second round pick.
Kyle.
And then next year's
Why are you deaf?
I would probably be pretty content with that.
Kyle. Okay, I think he's deaf.
Am I dead? Am I just talking right now?
Yeah, Kyle, can you hear me? I think he unplugged his headphones or something.
I muted my computer.
Yeah, you did. I was yelling your name, Kyle. Well, let's say they're like Mike Williams or something. Yeah, for me, I think to see them, and we're going to wrap this up quickly here, but for me, I think I can see them trying to trade up for a guy like Mike Williams, let's say, and then the Jets would get first. The Saints would trade up, and Kyle, I don't get your logic of how, like, if we just move down, you're happy. Like, everything else is just extra. Like, because I mean, theoretically, you'd want the higher pick. I know you're saying you could get. The whole point of trading down is you can gather more assets and still not lose too much of a pick. Anyway.
Are you doing this the day of? Are you doing this like before the draft?
I don't know, Kyle. I don't know.
Well, that depends. Well, that changes everything, Ben.
That changes everything.
Yeah, because all I know. Yeah, because Reuben Foster could be sitting there, and I'm not trading if Reuben Foster's there. But the way I think it's going to play out,
I don't think. Whatever.
Probably the best prospect would be Leonard Fournette. And if that's the case, I'm definitely trading down. But if Reuben Foster... No. Just I don't value a running back at 6. I think that's ludicrous.
Yeah, it was crazy for the Cowboys to take a running back at 3rd. Anyways, Ryan...
It's not even close to comparable, then.
Right. All right. Ryan, what do you think about the possibility of trading down? Are you enticed by that?
Definitely. We should definitely be exploring it. I think Kyle made a pretty good point earlier. Fournette's more of like a luxury pick, and there's only a certain handful of guys who should be top 10 picks. But, this draft class is loaded. Do not get me wrong. The class is definitely loaded. And in, like, certain positions, such as, like, the whole secondary, the tight end group. But, that doesn't mean that there's every single one of them deserves to be in the top 10. There's definitely a few, like Myles Garrett for sure. But if we are staying at 6, I'm definitely looking at Malik Hooker. That's the guy I really want. Jamal Adams would be a pretty safe pick if he lands there, which I don't think he will. I think Adams will go top 5. So if that happens and Hooker is taken as well, I definitely look to trade down because, the more draft picks you have, like I said earlier, the better chance you have of finding, a superstar. You know what I mean? And Mac's been pretty good in the drafts lately. His knock has been mostly free agency, but in the drafts he's done pretty well. And I think that if you give him, more and more picks, then the roster will start looking pretty good in the future and in the next upcoming years. So I'm definitely excited about that. And I think that we might, Mac kind of teased it a little bit in his interview last week. I'm sure you guys seen it. He was like, we're definitely exploring it. So he kind of, he's kind of telling teams now. Yeah. So it's definitely enticing.
Now, what about trading up, Ryan? Would you be interested in trading up?
Not really. The only guy which would require us to go all the way to number 1 would be Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
But, we are not in the position, to trade away all our picks just for one guy. We're very far away, as you guys know. We're rebuilding. So it's going to be a no for me.
See, I'm willing to go all out for Myles Garrett. Honestly, if the Browns are open to trading it, I'll give them my 6th overall pick, Sheldon Richardson, and maybe next year's or this year's 2nd. Myles Garrett is a game changer. He has the ability in his rookie year to get 10 or 11 sacks, and the only person I could even remotely compare him to in the NFL would be Von Miller, and I think he can be better than Von Miller. And not can, will be better than Von Miller. So I think when a player like that comes across your board and Sheldon Richardson, being able to trade, they need a run stopper who can also get to the quarterback from time to time. And they can still get a first-round pick and my 2nd.
All right, Kyle. Ryan, thank you for calling in, man. It's always good to talk to you. You bring some strong takes. That was a bit of a tongue twister there.
Tongue twister.
Well, I had food in my mouth, so that was a little awkward.
The Samoas.
Some strong takes. Ryan, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and give out your Twitter information. Yeah, the Samoas are killing me right now.
Thank you guys for having me. It's good to have you back, Ben. It's been a few weeks, huh?
Yes, I've been a little slack.
Am I?
We'll see.
All right, Kyle and David have been holding it down. So, but anyway, thank you guys for having me on. Hopefully the Jets make some pretty decent, mid-tier signings tomorrow. A guy I would look out for, which I forgot to mention earlier, is T.J. McDonald. I think he's pretty solid, under the radar type of guy. His old DB coach is here. But anyway, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at NY_JetsNation98. Have a good night, guys.
All right, you too, man.
Thanks, Ryan. All right, that was Ryan. Great call.
Let's go ahead and bring on Gangrene David. It's 7:03 my time, so let's go quickly. I know we want to talk to him about some stuff, but really quickly, his main role, David. Our trivia question of the day. Go ahead and fire it at us. We're gonna text it to you.
Yeah.
And we'll see. So David, first of all, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It was an honor to be co-hosting this show the last couple of weeks, and it was an honor talking to Connor Rogers, especially. But I've been laying low.
All right. Well, David.
David, keeping it real.
And by the way, my phone is at 1%, so if it dies, I'm just
gonna. Oh, come on.
All right. So, we brought in Chris Ivory. I can't speak. Well, we brought in Chris Ivory as a Jet. what was his first touchdown as a Jet, and what was his last touchdown as a Jet?
Oh, I call bull crap.
I got it. Think, Ben. Oh, I got it.
No! Oh, did I just mess up?
Oh, God, let me think.
All right, David, you got my answer, but I think half of it's wrong.
Okay.
I'm thinking. Don't say anything.
I hear typing.
All right, I'll just go with that. I might be wrong. We will see. I just put the teams they played, right? Is that okay? Was that what was supposed to be?
Yeah, that's what we were going for.
Okay. I didn't know if it was supposed to be.
Okay. I feel like I'm gonna have to say Kyle's is closer.
Whoa, that's new.
Actually, yes. Kyle's is closer. I remember he scored his first touchdown.
You remember? Have you not confirmed this, David?
Kyle's
His
is
first one
closer.
was not against the Saints. Let's be real.
It was. Yes, it
No,
was.
it was not.
Yes,
Guys,
it was.
come on.
It was.
I remember that. In 2010, I remember it was like the year we
2010, Chris Ivory.
Chris Ivory
2013,
12.
Jets versus Pats in New England on the goal line. Come on, guys.
That was Bilal Powell.
No, it was not. I'm pulling
Yes,
it up.
it was.
We're getting there. Hold on. Let me
Ben, if he proved you wrong, you're never gonna hear the end of this, bro.
10-13, Pats score, ugly win. Yeah, I remember that game. That was depressing. Okay, wait. Chris Ivory did not score a touchdown. But he hold on. Hold on. Chris. And then his last one was against who?
You wrote the Bills, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's right. I think he had did he have a touchdown that game?
No, he didn't. I think I was right with the Titans, right?
He didn't have a touchdown against the Titans.
Was it the Dolphins?
I would have to say yes. It was the Dolphins.
Do you know that, or are you just guessing? You don't sound so
I
sure.
know it. I know it. I'm just trying to think.
Why can I not?
Okay, wait a second. His first touchdown was not against the Saints.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was not.
Actually, it was. Oh, when?
Oh, wait, never mind. I was reading receiving. My bad. I wrote the brushing. Never mind. All right, well, David, that was a weird question. All right, well, before we log off.
Whoa! I'm gonna bask in glory here right now.
Okay,
All
fine.
right.
It's 5-2, Kyle. I'm still winning. Dang it, my phone just died. I still have it on my computer. Give me a second, David. I wanted to ask you about something. And so there are a few remaining free agents as we go into night 2 or night 1.
Update that score. 5-2. It's comeback season, baby. I'm pulling Brady in the Super Bowl.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Brady in the Super Bowl.
So David, I'm going to read you probably the top remaining free agents according to U Stadium. Dante Hightower, Logan Ryan, Jonathan Hankins, Adrian Peterson, Dontari Poe, Terrell Pryor, Eddie Lacy, Martellus Bennett, and T.J. Lang. Do you think there's any chance the Jets could get one or two of those players, and who would they be?
Oh, well, this is actually probably going to be one of those off seasons where the Jets might want to stay a little conservative during free agency. But if I were to actually use the cap space we have now, which actually we've freed up quite a bit, I would probably want to sign one of those New England free agents, knowing that the fact that they have developed well. I would probably either go with Dante Hightower or Logan Ryan, knowing the fact that they have both been run under a pretty decent system, and honestly, I think they would be a good fit. I mean, if you could get one or both, that would be fine, but I would try going with one or.
Kyle, what do you think about the prospect of bringing in Dante Hightower? It kind of goes against everything we've been talking about since he's a top free agent who's going to command a lot of money, but he is young and he is an edge rusher, and he pretty much single-handedly saved the Pats Super Bowl. So would you consider Dante Hightower? I don't think he'd come here, but if the Jets threw an inordinate, an insane amount of money at him.
You just saying a word?
No, I don't. I can't speak today, Kyle. I'm off my game. It's what happens when you miss a week.
Yeah, multiple actually.
I was there the week before that. would you consider Dante Hightower?
Nah, not at all. Terrible against the run. He blitzes up the middle. He's not even truly an edge rusher. He's going to command way too much money. Product of Bill Belichick's system. I think he best remains in New England.
All right. Well, then that'll do it for us. David, I know you wanted to talk a little bit, so if there's anything else that you wanted to bring up, now is your time to shine.
Speak, child.
First of all,
that means there's two.
First of all, I do not want to trade Eric Decker, at least this year. I think Justin lost his mind. I think I would want to keep it for one more year.
Justin said to cut him. So.
Yeah, Justin said come.
You
also don't want to trade Calvin Pryor, so, I mean, this is where we stand with trades.
Well, actually, I mean, that depends what happens. I mean, Kyle, you are right. I mean, I would love to see Calvin Pryor emerge for one more year, but if we can get some bargaining out of that, like, say, trade him for a fourth, and then, like, trade a fourth round to get, like, someone with some good depth, and then get a fourth rounder back for Calvin Pryor, then I would say maybe that would be a good idea. Or, like, say, if we were to draft someone like Jamal Adams, then Pryor would be gone. But if Pryor does start, I mean, I'm not going to be upset. I mean, let the kid see what he's made up for one more year, and that's really that. Second of all, I can't say I would use a sixth pick on a running back. I'm sorry, because I've said this I said this countless times. The sixth pick is a make or break pick. It can change your franchise. When we drafted Leonard Williams with the sixth pick in 2015, that obviously was a great piece of evidence right there. So
did it change anything?
Well, he actually carried our crappy defensive line this year, who pretty much did nothing. But anyhow,
primarily because of injury and lack of coaching and lack of effort.
Exactly.
Not because of talent.
But I think the defensive line will bounce back. But honestly, if I were to go into the draft, I would probably fill a hole with someone that could provide a lot of depth and someone who could be a potential franchise player. And if I were to do that, I would probably have to agree with Connor Hughes, and I would probably have to say someone like Malik Hooker. Or, if anything, I would probably want to go with Jamal Adams as well.
I would stay away from Jamal Adams because he's just another strong safety. We just have strong safeties after strong safeties. I think free safety. If they're going to go safety, I think it should be a free safety. But all right, I think that should just about wrap it up, unless anybody has anything last words to say. For our free agent frenzy episode, when we planned this, I think we were expecting a little more exciting news to happen for the Jets. But I'm sure there will be plenty of signings and stuff to talk about next week. We are going to be live Wednesdays, back to our normal time. Wednesdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. You could call in, as always, 515-739-1285 and enter the PIN, which is 261860, and you have to use a pound or a hash sign. And so you can always reach us there. As always, on Twitter, Instagram, pretty much every social media site, we're The Jet Take, any podcatcher. So if you're Google Play, SoundCloud, iTunes, any one of those, we're there. And as always, we have a blog page, which is www.thejettake.libsyn.com. You can check out all our episodes there, all our social medias, everything's right there. So that's a good time. Gentlemen, thank you for moving the show back, and thank you for carrying the weight while I've been a little busy this past few weeks. I think I've missed like 3 or 2 out of the last 3 or something like that. But I think we should be smooth sailing from here on out for a while. Kyle, David, any last words? Not
No.
stupid. Kyle, I'm looking at you.
You're actually not looking at me. You're listening to me.
Listening at you.
Now who said something stupid?
Right now, no shocking breaking news this week, so.
Yeah,
man, Ben, did you listen to the end of the episode last week?
No, I have not.
Okay, so David was about to hit me with the trivia question, and he goes, "Wait, Kyle, breaking news." And I go, "Uh-oh, what's up?" He goes,
Yeah, the Brandon Marshall thing.
And I flipped. It was worse than Christian Hackenberg when we did the live broadcast and we picked him. Remember when I flipped out for that one?
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good time, Kyle. That was a good time.
They were simpler times, Ben.
Yes, and I'm going to pose a question of the day for our Twitter followers. So if you follow us on Twitter, we generally pose a question every day that you can answer. At the Jet Take, Gentlemen, would you like to help me think of a trivia question? Give me.
Ooh.
I have to think of one. Give me a second. I have to give me just talk for maybe 40 seconds, and I'll think of one.
So David,
Don't talk about something stupid, please, for the love of God. Oh, I have a good one. Okay, there we go. I got it.
our job is done.
Kyle and David, I'll ask you too. You can say it, but we're gonna post it on Twitter, so don't post the answer. But who caught Brett Favre's first touchdown pass as a quarterback of the New York Jets? You can just say him.
Chauncey Stuckey.
Nice job, Kyle. You were like
Holy
6
crap!
years old.
I got that.
Yeah.
Well, I just went for the first name that I know you've talked about with Brett Favre.
It was 4th and 11, and or something like that. And Mike Nugent got hurt, and they were on like the 25, so they just went for it. And then they threw it up to Chauncey Stuckey right at the goal line. Oh, nice job. They also. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Don't take this away from me.
Hold on.
Do not take
I
this
might
away
be
from me.
wrong. It could have been Jericho Cotchery on the.
I will cry. I will cry right here live on air.
That's okay, Kyle.
We have to wrap up the show soon.
Ow. It's got my toes stuck in a drawer.
Give me a play-by-play. Come on. Found it. Okay, sweet.
Brett Favre takes a snap, drops back. He looks.
Oh, nope. It was Jericho Cotchery. Kyle, I was wrong. It was Jericho Cotchery on a 56-yard bomb on his third series. Okay, I think we have that soundbite. But on his second series as a Jet, well, I remember this. It was one play, 56 yards, bombed it to Jericho Cotchery, and Jets Nation went wild. Before there was Twitter, but Jet Twitter went wild.
I called bull crap.
Anyways,
you took that away from me.
Thank you to all. I'm sorry, Kyle.
I feel like
thank you to all our listeners. We will post that up on Twitter. Thank you to all our listeners, and we will talk to you guys next Wednesday. Hopefully, talking about some Jets free agent signings and some new draft stuff. Hey, maybe we'll be talking about Kirk Cousins as the new quarterback. I'd be pretty excited for that.
I'd be pretty lit. I'd be very happy.
All right, Kyle. Anyways, guys, catch you guys next week. We'll leave you with the best chant in the NFL. Go Jets.
Mustard on hot dogs.
No. Leonard Fournette. Oh, God. You and Justin's Leonard Fournette conversation was killing me, man. Just like these.
We're still recording.